Oh, that's you.
Miss Baker, can you hear me? Ms. Baker, this is Elizabeth, the stenographer. I just wanted you to know I'm on the call.
Are we ready? There's too much technology these days.
That's why I like my 11-year-old grandson, he teaches me everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the beginning of the meeting,
That's good, he's smarter than you are. No shit.
their brain is wired for this.
It is, we've seen Ace with the TV already and everything.
Yeah,
He was teaching the
Okay, so
teachers
there
how
we
to
are.
code.
wow, that's good. Yeah,
Oh, now you can hear us? Yeah.
Yeah, there I am, you and I are talking. Okay, so I think we're ready to go.
All right.
Thank you.
6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order.
Greetings, Mr. Chair, members of the commission.
We're not in,
Oh, not yet, okay. It's 4
Few more
minutes till.
minutes.
Oh, you still have some minutes, okay.
yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Would you like some water? Anyone want water? And if you need the public bathroom or anything, just let me know, but it's through this door and to the right, okay? Thank you all for being here tonight.
You're a good host.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it's
It's this, it's inbred, huh? From
I know it's always really nervous when you're out here, you don't know what's gonna happen, you don't know procedure. Everything's gonna be all right.
It's passed down from our grandmas, Joe. You come to the house, you have to feed them and give them stuff.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
at least a cup of coffee.
okay, so.
Yeah. You know, the only one to this day that I like is,
How are you, buddy?
my grandma always had a bottle of Mogan David.
That would
A great one for, with these cochitos for her friends.
Catch you, buddy.
It's the only one still to this day that I like, because she
Did
let
they
me have a
pull
little
out
baby
any
when I was little.
Are you still numb?
Are you here to be sitting there with a big old smile?
No, yes.
To the whole
You start drooling during your presentation.
There's 6 of us, so we reserved the whole afternoon for
Oh,
us.
Oh, the whole family went.
All of us go.
At one time,
Holy cow.
That's smart. Tell me you're making chicken out.
I know.
I bet he's happier than you. Do you have cold feet?
He said, I gotta hurry. The guy selling the new Mercedes is about to close. I gotta go. Okay. Yeah. Well, wait for you to get back.
But I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, Vince, did you find it?
You almost ready, Lou?
Yeah, but we gotta go to the minutes.
Are you almost ready, Lou?
Almost, we have Miss Emma, the deputy city clerk, so let's see if. What can she see? What can she see online? What was it? Oh, there it is, okay, we got it, there we go, okay,
Ready up?
beautiful, yes, thank you, sir.
I'm gonna call this meeting to order for 6 PM on February the 16th, 2023. And if we can please have roll call. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Chair Trujillo. Commissioner Christine Bustos.
Present.
Commissioner Roland Borrego. Let the record show Commissioner Borrego is absent. Commissioner JD Martinez.
Present.
Commissioner Joe Salazar.
Present.
Commissioner JR Trujillo.
Present.
And Commissioner Charlene Quinn. Let the record show,
And
she is, I believe, well,
Ms. Cross.
sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Chavez.
That's okay.
Apologize.
Mark Johnson.
And Commissioner Ross Chavez.
Present.
Present. Let the record show, Mr. Chair, that we do have a quorum to conduct business this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. We all will stand, pledge allegiance, and the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we vote on the approval of the agenda, I'd like to make a couple of changes to the agenda and amendments. So first off, I would like to move the election of vice chair till next week's meeting, so we have everybody here as a courtesy to our other commissioners. They have two absent tonight, so I'd like to move
There's gonna
that
be several of us missing next week.
on the 23rd.
I'm not gonna be here.
You're not gonna be here?
Yeah.
And you won't be here?
I will.
Oh, okay, so we have two missing again. Okay, well, if you folks feel comfortable, I don't want to postpone it any too much longer. We'll have two missing next week. We might as well just keep on the agenda and vote for vice chair. That'd be okay? All right. Next, I would like to move the matters from the commission to after the public hearings. Those are the two changes. Any other changes or issues with the agenda, commissioners?
No, I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Take a vote there, yes, or?
We have a motion on the floor, Mr. Chair, to amend the agenda for the record. Item number 7, matters from the commission, will now become item number 10. Number 10 will become item number 9. Everything's gonna move up the agenda. So matters from the commission will come after action items, old business, approval of minutes. Right before matters from staff, is that correct?
That's fine.
The motion was made by Commissioner Chavez. No, I'm sorry,
And seconded by Mr. Salazar.
okay, the motion for the record was made by Commissioner Christine Bustos and second by Commissioner Joe Salazar. Commissioner Ross Chavez. In favor?
Yes, in favor.
Commissioner JD Martinez.
In favor.
Commissioner Joe Salazar.
In favor.
Commissioner, the Honorable Chair JR Trujillo.
For the motion.
Commissioner Christine Bustos.
Yes.
Let the record show, Mr. Chair, you have an amended agenda.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, under acknowledgements, so we've already welcomed you to the commission, Christine Bustos team, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with you, and I'm sure I'm echoing everybody's comments about you being on the commission. And of course,
Thank you.
we were sad to see Adriana go, but hopefully her health improves and she can maybe come back and join us at a future time. Okay, so next on the agenda is election of vice chair. And we, of course, lost our vice chair with Adriana leaving. So do I have any nominations for vice chair?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Joe Salazar for vice chair.
So, vice chair, okay. Have any other nominations for vice chair? Okay. That being said, are we going to vote in secret like we did last time? What do you want to do?
Mr. Chair,
Just one.
I would suggest that someone move to close nominations and Commissioner Joe Salazar would be voted as vice chair by acclamation.
So moved.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second, I'm second.
Okay, so the motion to close nominations and to elect Commissioner Joe Salazar as vice chair by acclamation is made by, for the record, by Commissioner Christine Bustos, second by Mr. JD Martinez. All in favor? We just do it. Aye, the ayes carry. Congratulations, Commissioner. You are now vice chair.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There's a lot of work.
I know how.
Lot of work.
What's
Thank you.
new, right? What's new?
Yeah.
Okay, next is gonna be public comment. So if you're speaking for one of the public hearing cases, this is not when you would be speaking. But if there's anybody in the general public that would just like to talk to the commission, have comments to the commission, now is the time that you can do so. Anybody would like to make comments to the commission? No? Okay. That being said, we are going to move on then to our action items and new business. And this will be the public hearing process. So the following cases that we are about to hear are quasi judicial in nature, and the hearing will be conducted under provisions required by the New Mexico Court of Appeals. This includes the identification of parties and the swearing in of all those who wish to provide testimony. The opportunity to cross-examination or cross-examination to ask questions will be provided to all parties. So our first public hearing. This is going to be, we will be opening the public hearings for item number 1, which is 2023-02. And before we, this case here, this is going to be special use review. Ed Herrera applicant requests approval for special use permit on a 20 by 22 detached carport already built on property currently addressed as 453 Calle Don Leandro. The subject property is located in the R6 Urban Residential District. So
Mr. Chair, excuse me. In other meetings that I've been in, this is my first one, guys, so, you know, give me a little slack here. In other meetings that I've been to, we normally have to exit the regular meeting and go into public hearings, or you don't have to do
we
this
don't have to
here?
do that here.
Okay, because it is time zoning. Okay, I just want to get it straight so that everything's cool.
So then before we begin the public hearing process for case 2022-02, is there anyone who has a conflict of interest or that has had ex parte communication related to this case? Any commissioners? No. So let the record show that no one has had any conflict of interest or has had any ex parte communication related to this case. All right. So who is going to be speaking on behalf of Ed Herrera, either in favor of or not in favor of? You're Ed Herrera? Yes. Okay, anybody else here to speak? Okay, so and staff, you're going to be speaking tonight, Lou Baker, anybody else from staff will be speaking tonight?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, yes. Mr. Baldonado,
Okay.
yes, Mr. Baldonado will be talking, making the presentation to this body.
Okay, if we'll hold stand, so I swear you in. You can raise your right hands. Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth? I do.
Yes.
Okay, and it's not you, Ed, we'll do you next time, yeah. Okay, so of course you can sit down, staff, and now the applicant, Ed, Mr. Ed, would you please stand? Same thing, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth? Okay, you may see it. All right. So are there any property owners? We said no, there's nobody from the general public to speak in this case, all right? So let's have staff present your case, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I'll be presenting the memo tonight for case number 2023-02, applicant Ed Herrera. The subject section is a special use request. Ed Herrera applicant is requesting a special use permit for the construction of a custom-built wooden frame carport extending out from the front of his home located at 453 Calle Don Leandro. The property is owned R6 Urban Residential District, and the required front setback in that district is 30 feet. The applicant's completed construction currently encroaches into the setback, resulting in a front setback of 4 inches. Brief background, the city of Espanola Commission approved Marty's Meadows in May 1998 as a legal subdivision. The subdivision owner, Mr. Martinez, recorded the dedication and easement survey plat with the Rio Arriba County on May 21st, 1999. When one of the Marty's Meadows residents tried to sell their property, they found out the survey was not done by a licensed surveyor, and the subdivision survey plat was not recorded. Mr. Martinez only recorded easement and dedication survey with Rio Arriba County. The residents need subdivision survey to sell the property and present a legal description of the property. As of the June 3rd, 2022, at the Planning Commission meeting, Marty's Meadows subdivision summary plat review was approved. Summary. The subject property is located on the northern section of the Marty's Meadows subdivision, currently zoned R6 urban residential. The front of the property has been determined to be the south side of the property or the side of the property aligned with the front entrance of the house. The applicant is requesting a special use for the construction of a wood frame carport extending out from the front of the house 8 feet to the south. The resulting construction would encroach entirely into the required 30-foot front setback, resulting in a setback of 4 inches. As such, the applicant's previous site development permit application was formally denied on November 15th, 2022. The applicant commenced the construction. After many site visits by staff, Mr. Herrera was informed he did not have authorization to build a carport. Staff demanded he apply to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a special use permit. Upon review of section 405 special use permit, staff felt the applicant's request is contrary to the special use criteria and fails to meet all the requirements set forth in this section. And therefore, staff recommends denial of the request. Tonight's action would be approval, conditional approval, or denial. Recommendation by the Planning and Land Use Department is denial of case 2023-02. Should the Planning and Zoning Commission approve or approve with conditions, staff recommends the following. Should the Planning Commission choose to approve this request, the Commission shall prescribe the point in time at which the special use is to begin, not to exceed 90 days from the meeting date, and the point in time when the special use shall expire, not to exceed 5 years. Special use permits are not transferable, and a transfer of the land ownership shall invalidate special use. Number 2, a building permit shall be obtained by the Construction Industries Division for the building addition prior to installation, construction, and a copy of the permit and approval shall be provided to the Planning and Land Use Department. Number 3, the applicant must return and reapply to the Planning Commission at expiration of the special use permit. That concludes memos from staff.
Any questions from the commission or comments?
Mr. Baldonado,
Yes, Commissioner.
has this structure already been built?
It has been built.
So it's already there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? And I'll ask a question myself. Mr. Baldonado, in reviewing the site of the carport and from reviewing the site plan that was presented to us, it looks like the carport actually goes past his northern or his southern property line. Was the staff able to get an ILR or anything in a survey that would show us that this is not on someone else's property?
It's true, the location for kind of like that survey. Mr. Chair, to review, we did not receive an survey or an ILR.
Now, when you and I had spoken on this case, you had some concern of the post is 4 inches from the property line, which we think is a property line, but the overhang extends past that. Is that correct?
Yes, There's some photos attached to the packet, Mr. Chair, and by looking at the photos, the pole is 4 inches from the property line. But the overhang does extend outwards.
Okay. Also, when it was denied in November 2022, was that something that was just denied by staff? But it hadn't been built at that time, or had it already been built in November?
It was still being worked on. It wasn't completed at that point.
So after you told him it's denied, he continued to build without any permission from the city or construction industry, is that correct?
We had mentioned to Mr. Herrera that he needed a site development permit for the construction of the carport. I did personally advise him, he's encroaching in the front setback, that it might be denied. At that point, we did take several visits out there and continue to see the progress of the construction.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
This is Commissioner Joe Salazar speaking. Did you request any BRTs from any of the departments? I don't know, maybe the fire department.
We had a brief DRT with fire department. They recommended that there was no issues with it, being that it's open, not enclosed.
And how about the distance from the carport to the house? Does that meet that requirement?
It does not meet the requirements for the site development permit, although the fire department didn't have an issue.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? Okay, Vince, let's see if the applicant, Mr. Herrera, do you have any questions for staff, Mr. Maldonado?
I do, a few. I got photos over here.
Well, you're not doing your presentation. If you have any questions for the staff, you'll be able to present here shortly.
Okay. The front of the property, from the road up to the first house, does that belong to the city? Is that a fair question or?
Sure, it's a fair question.
Because I noticed that during the summer, some people are cutting the weeds there. I want to know who cuts the weeds, or is that a subdivision belonging to us, or does it belong to the city?
That particular piece of property is still privately owned, so the city wouldn't be cutting the weed out.
That's where the boulders are, right?
Right.
Okay, so who cuts them, do you know, or?
I believe it's the past owner, Mr. Martinez's family, that actually hires people to cut those weeds.
He owns that certain property right there.
Are you talking at the front of the property?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's owned by the Martinez's.
Okay, so there's no houses are going up there. And I was also looking at across the street, there's a fence put up by the college. Real nice looking fence. In fact, I could find myself, go get a estimate on a fence for us, kind of make it a gated community, make it look pretty, you know? And it came out to about 40,000. That's what I was wondering, that does Martinez or this, I thought the city owned that, maybe we can go hackers on that, that's Martinez owns that.
If we can keep our questions to the case tonight, which is your carport, that'd be best.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Any other questions about your project?
Just, yeah, the project, but just for this clarification, along Railroad Avenue, the first how many feet are they're zoned differently, right?
Yeah, it's
It's something
we're gonna
different.
talk about that tonight.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the neighbors on the staff, no one else? Okay. That being said, Mr. Herrera, if you please come to the podium and present your case. Please state your name for the record, Mr. Herrera.
Okay. Ed Herrera. Yes. Do you guys need any photos or anything, or, I mean, I can just pass them over here.
We have one.
That you submitted?
Oh, yeah, no, that probably, yeah.
That's right there, right?
Are those
Yeah,
the pictures
we
you're
have
talking
those.
about, Mr. Rivera?
Those are the folks that stacked up.
I don't remember submitting them, but,
Staff like those, do you have anything that would, you can show us your photos.
yeah, no, that's the same, that's it. But, it's not completed. They told me to stop. So I had the lumber there, I needed to cover it because lumber it tends to warp on the elements and all that. So I took it upon myself to cover it, so I wouldn't ruin that lumber that was already there. But I still wanna build and I got blueprints over here for a porch that attaches to it. So when they told us to stop, I stopped, other than covering it, you know? So, yeah, we still need to put the porch on there, which attaches to the front of the house, and it's gonna attach to probably 4 feet on that side of the carport. And here's the blueprints right here.
And we have that one also.
Okay, and you had a porch, so we did stop, when you said stop. Had porch on it?
I'm gonna show you right now, let's try there.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it's this one. This, no, it's this,
No,
no,
one more.
this one,
There you go.
okay. So that's, is that the image that you're referring to, Mr. Herrera?
No, So this is the one, can I give this to Charlie from Mr. Business Manager?
So continue with this.
Yeah, so we did stop, but I didn't want the wood to rot or whatever, you know, with the weather. And that carport wasn't put up for beauty or anything. I have you know, the heat that we get in summer and hail, well, it was damaging my car. Well, everyone's cars, I'm guessing, you know. But I had this Lexus and there's holes, not holes, pits on the hood. And so I thought, well, I can take care of that problem. But they did go a couple of times, and I think, 'cause I'm taking some medication, I've had COVID twice, right? And the first time it affected over here, my facial muscles. So I drooled a lot, sorry about that. And then the second time, I think it went up a little higher, had the memory, and in 2 weeks I turned 69, so it's like, yeah, I'm probably older than all you guys over here, I don't know, so. So that's where I think you went over a couple of times. And I did, the guys that were working on my porch, I think I went to a funeral in Denver and they continue working on it. So I just went with that, you know, well, continue, we'll cover it, you know. So yeah, they had the trusses already up and everything. And that's it.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah, and that's, my house is the second one from the end. So basically, it's if anybody wants to go to my house, I think there's like 40 houses during the subdivision. They'd have to go around there through my house to look at it or to go to town or whatever, you know. So I think the only reason these people know that was building that is because the sign up front, you know, to come to the meeting. And you know what, it does look pretty, beautiful. I saw this paper dated January 19th by Mayor John Hill, stating that we want to make downtown Espanola attractive to the developer, make that investment, see what's worthwhile. And I didn't know it was going to come out so nice, I really didn't, but it does add attraction to the neighborhood and I'm guessing value. That's about it, I guess.
This time, any questions from the commission? Yes, Councilor Chávez.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify that you were told several times not to continue building. And you did continue, however, we the contractors also continue building and you didn't inform them that they had to stop?
Two of
Can you
them.
clarify that?
And I'm taking medicine from memory, so I probably even forgot to tell them, I don't know, but I am doctor prescribed, you know? And I'm sorry, I apologize, you know? I mean, I'm getting up there in years too, so I don't think I got that many years to enjoy that carport.
Any other questions, Commissioner Kevin? Okay, Mr. Chavez?
And basically, it probably is encroaching into the sidewalk. It does appear that,
Mhm.
and you're aware of that?
No, I'm not. So, what do we do here? What?
Yeah, the top, the pitch of the roof.
All right.
Basically goes out more than 4 inches, then the pillars are on the bottom.
I see.
That's the one we were we were referring to earlier.
Oh, okay. Can that be cut or something, or what do we do there?
Basically, you would probably have to talk to Mr. Vincent, I guess. Yeah,
I don't know, we give a recommendation.
Oh,
there, but we can
recommendation,
definitely ask questions that you need to hear.
okay. That's all.
Joe, you have a question?
Yes, Joe Salazar, Commissioner speaking, Mr. Herrera, did you ever contact Construction Industries before you started this project?
No,
You
no,
didn't request a permit from them?
no, just from this guys, and I went about 5 times and they said, well, bring another form, here's another form, here's another form. I remember that. I said, well, there's a lot of forms to this, you know? So I thought that was taken care of.
Did you get any advisement or any form indicating that you had to talk to construction industry to get their approval first?
Not at all.
Yes.
Mr. Herrera, I'm familiar with the subdivision. It is a very pretty subdivision. It's one of the nicer ones with the manufactured homes. None of your neighbors, of course, I have not seen any carports, any garages.
Right.
Are there rules in your subdivision, rules against that?
Not that I'm aware of, but there's houses there that do have a wall. Can I show you this?
Well, a wall's different.
Oh, and it looked like it wasn't finished. I mean, there's 2 walls. That
But you know, many subdivisions have rules of
Well-
what you can and can't have.
well, according to, and I thought HOA by Marty's Meadows. Oh, there's that fence I was talking about. By Marty's Meadows, HOA says that we could build a carport there.
We still have to.
Did you have that? Was that passed on to our new owner, whoever, I guess that's Marty Meadows right there, and you said John Martinez owns that property now, or?
John, it's Gerald Martinez's family still owns it. He's never changed
but
hands to my knowledge.
That's just the front
Yeah, that's
part.
in the front, yeah. Your lots have setbacks, so that's why you're hearing that.
So, I did go to them for about a home from some title company. And they archived that and says, well, here you go, you know, this is from HOA, Marty's Meadows.
So I have some questions for you, Mr. Ed. So number one, in regards to this, who, you say the contractor, you hired a licensed contractor? And
No,
they built you a carport without permits, is that what you're telling us?
no, I wasn't a licensed contractor,
Okay, who did you hire?
my nephew,
Your nephew.
yes.
Is your nephew familiar with building? Because anything you build, you have to get permits.
Right, I told him that I went to go get the permit, right? From planning and zoning.
You're right.
And he said, okay, and he said, well, let me see your HOA, you know, so I showed him that, he said, well, according to this, you're allowed to build.
You probably want to seek someone else to ask questions to in regards to your nephew, because you have setback requirements on that subdivision.
Mhm.
A setback requirement means you cannot build in that area unless it's a wall or a fence. You can't build any structures like what you've built without a permit or a variance or some type of a special use.
Okay.
And when you came to the city, they denied you, right? They told you you're denied.
No,
They didn't tell you?
no, they just told me stop, stop, and they didn't say I was denied. So at that point, I already had some wood up and I didn't wanna ruin it, and he said he came a couple of times, 3 times.
The staff said that you were formally denied on November 15th of 2022 in our report, which we'll ask the staff here in a little bit. They can ask you as well.
Sure.
So you didn't go to CID as Mr. Joe Sal's already asked, you didn't go to CID for any permission, any permits. So when you look at this drawing, did you create this drawing or who created this drawing right here?
My nephew.
Your nephew did.
Now,
Do you mind, let me,
What
why don't you
question?
come closer here? Can you pull it up on the screen? Let him pull it up on the screen. I'll ask you some questions.
what, okay,
Yeah, he's gonna pull it up on the screen, okay. So you're gonna see right here, this normally is what would be your property line. I don't know what that line would be unless it's a property line, and it shows that she's going over the property line quite a bit. So how did he create this if he didn't use property boundaries? And if he did, why would you encroach over the property line?
is that the overhead that you're talking about?
I'm just looking at your drawing of your structure here, and it is sticking over and way into the property line by a couple of joists. This would be your property line here, according to this drawing.
Okay, I'm sorry, where's my property?
Well, I'm just, this is the drawing you presented us,
Right,
and this is showing that would be your property line.
right.
But your structure goes over the property line quite a bit. You see that?
Oh, that's out there, I thought that was the porch or something.
This is the structure that needs to be built. So I can go back to the photo. So that's a big concern, is that structure is not on your property. That's a big problem, all right? So I had asked staff to contact, did they contact you in regards to what's called an ILR? Where you can have what's called an improvement location report done, where they can identify your property and they can see if you've encroached on others or they've encroached on you. Do they not contact you in regards to that?
No, sir.
Okay. That is something that is probably something I'm going to request here tonight. You were given any other questions for the applicant? Staff, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I have a.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I have a
Mrs.
question.
JD Martinez, please.
On the pictures of your property, you have a picture of the carport. And it shows the concrete leading to your property, and it seems to go into the sidewalk. Did you put that?
The overhang,
No, I'm talking about the cement, the concrete that's on the bottom,
right?
the driveway. Did you put that driveway onto your property, the other pole? That one, see where it goes into the sidewalk?
No,
Did you
we
put that,
Go to the next picture.
we
was
just
that
put,
already there when you bought the
yeah,
property?
yeah, we put the poles up, but that that
Do you
cement
know
was
where your
already there.
property lines are?
Pardon?
Do you know where your property lines are?
No, I don't. I guess they're telling me now, they're
You
explaining
don't
that
know
to
where
me
your
now.
property lines are, sir.
No, I don't.
You don't.
They're explaining that to me right now.
There's,
Can I get an answer?
no, he doesn't. There's some questions on that, and we have questions as well, JD, for this property line is.
Was there ever a survey done on your piece of land?
When I bought it, I think they went with a previous survey, because
You don't have an abstract on your property?
I had I think I might, an older one, because I refinanced that home. And the abstract company, from when I first bought it, I'm pretty sure they went and surveyed it, right? And then I refinanced that home, and
You really need to know where your property line is, that way you don't get into trouble with anybody
right,
about encroachment. And if they encroach on you, then you have the right to ask them to
Right.
move it.
now,
It appears to me that whoever laid down the concrete there specifically did not know where the line was.
Right, that was done before I even moved there. We didn't touch anything.
Yeah, well, they have drive paths that fit the street, but the property line either goes up to the sidewalk or it might even go into the sidewalk. We don't know. That's the question. But any other questions? So let me point out something to you. So you brought in some covenants for the Marty's Meadow subdivision. This is section 2, section G, paragraph 2, architectural control. No building other than a temporary construction shed or trailer as described in covenant deed hereof shall be erected, placed, or altered on any lot until the construction plans and the specifications for all exterior of such buildings, including site plans and elevations and clearly denoting materials to be used, have been approved by or on behalf of the Marty's Meadows Planning Committee and the City of Espanola Planning Department. Erection, placing, or alterations of such buildings shall be done only in accordance with such approval plans and specifications. So that's what your covenants tell you. So did you get approval from the Marty's Meadows Planning Committee?
Well, Marty's Meadows, isn't that grandfathered into the new, when I refinanced my home, isn't that grandfathered in?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you,
Yeah.
your covenants, because you didn't get them from the city, right?
Well, I went to there and they told me, bring this form, get that form, get that form, get that form. So I filled everything and when I was, like I said, when I was constructing, they said, well, stop.
Oh, because you were building without permits. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why you were.
Well,
stopped.
they didn't, okay, so, at that point, like I said, that we had the lumber up already and that cost me $10,000 approximately for that. So I didn't want to ruin anything.
You know, as a commissioner and also the chairman of the commission, I personally frown upon people building things without proper permits.
Mhm.
And that's very important because it can prevent someone like you from spending $10,000 for nothing. Because without permits and approval, and I'm not telling you what the commission is gonna say tonight, but they can tell you to tear the thing down. Okay, so I'm just telling you that because that's something you should hear for maybe in the future, all right?
And yes, sir, yeah, I understood. But when they gave me form after form after form, and then the last day they should have stamped it on this date, this is the final form. There's no documentation on that. There should be some kind of a policy procedure
The
that.
only way you can proceed is if you have a permit. If you don't have a permit, you can't proceed. So if the process takes time,
Mhm,
then until that thing says approved,
mhm.
you didn't get something that says approved. They gave you a disapproval, that's why you're here tonight. They told you to cease and desist. That's a pretty clear sign that you shouldn't have been doing what you're doing. Any other questions for Mr. Herrera tonight from the commission? If not, is there any questions from staff of Mr. Herrera? He is in conflict with something we put in our staff report that he was given formal denial in November. Do we have any copy of that formal denial?
Yes,
So we can see
Mr.
that.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, if you look at your packet, there is a land use site development plan. It's dated November the 8th, 2022. He paid the fee of $75.
Right here.
Then go to the second page
Mhm.
and you have,
Denial.
it's denied and it's dated, that's the, this is what you paid. So you paid the $75, that's the receipt number and everything. And and on the first page, it says carport. Okay. So, and that's your signature. Did you get one of these packets? You're welcome to take this. That's a public record, you can have that.
Did he would have been given a copy of this denial, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you were denied the request, right there, Mr. Herrera.
Oh, is this a copy? Did I get a copy?
Yes, you would receive a copy.
I would have saved the paperwork, I mean, something like this. I mean, for purposes of for the amount of money I put in there, you know, but I don't recall receiving a copy. I don't.
Because, it's,
And when you said denied, that threw me for a loop right there, that one right there. Really, so.
Are you finished with your, so do we have any questions, any more questions for Steph?
let me, may I have
Oh,
this?
sure.
And I'll give it, let me make a copy and I'll give it right back to you,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you.
Before you leave.
All right.
So do we have any questions from the audience of the presenter, Mr. Herrera? Anybody, maybe people? Okay. All right. So Mr. Herrera, you can take your seat, please.
Okay.
Now, is there anyone from the general public wishing to speak on behalf of this public hearing? Okay. All right. So let's close the session for public comments. This time we'll close the public comments. All right, so now I will entertain a motion from the commissioners in regard to this case. We can have discussion. Can I say a few things before we entertain a motion, please, just to kind of get us off this rock? So I think we all are faced with somewhat of a dilemma here, because we had an individual. Sorry, Ms. Baker, but we don't want him to miss this. We had an individual that created this structure. At this point in time, I think there's some real questions here on whether or not the structure is on his property, or if it extends over onto areas that are not his property. I think that maybe we should talk about some type of maybe a conditional situation, where if Mr. Herrera can bring back some form, I would say an ILR. I don't know if he should pay for a full survey. An ILR identifies the property boundaries and identifies the improvements on the property and whether they are in code, okay? If they're encroaching on other people's property. We might make some type of motion with those types of conditions. That's of course up to you folks.
Can I add to that, what you're requesting? Also, you know, I think what you read, this paragraph that you read from the residential area covenants and saying, you know, architectural controls. I think that also has to be cleared with whoever this.
Covenants.
So, you know, they gotta first meet that requirement and then get the other information that you're requesting. And see, and my concern also, you know, he talks about his nephew doing the construction. In, you know, did he provide the information that he could, or is he a licensed contractor that couldn't provided him with
According
this?
to Mr. Herrera, he's not a licensed contractor.
So those are my concerns, you know, he was given bad information, he didn't follow the covenant rules. And then also not contacting construction industry.
Can I make another, just bring out another concession to think about? Maybe it's something that the positive is it is a beautiful structure.
Yes.
The problem is though, what if everybody does the same thing? Now you have no streets or sidewalk because everything is congested with carports in the front. So this can be a real interesting situation, yes, Commissioner.
Can you bring up the one there that shows the carport, the one, the drawing? The other way. That one, right there.
Yes.
Ms. Baker, so it's built, you know, and we hate, as you can see, we're all having problems because we don't like to deny people, and especially since, like you say, you've already spent a lot of money on this and everything. But as I said, there are quite a few things that weren't done in the proper sequence. If the carport was moved, he has 8 feet 4 inches between the actual home and the carport. Then he's saying he's gonna build a porch. What if the carport structure was moved closer to the house so it wouldn't be in the right of way or anything? Would that, of course, you'd still have to get permission from your HOA and from the city before that's done. And plus, you'd have to get a licensed contractor to do the work. What would happen? Would that,
It's not, the way it's constructed, it would be very difficult to do that.
you don't think it would be, cause
Yeah.
since it's a, you know, cause they could put a couple of posts and basically. Would that?
It's pretty heavy. So maybe
I was just checking.
you would consider something where maybe you would consider someone would make a motion to table this request and give some conditions you would have to bring back to planning and zoning department in regards to the actual location of this on his property boundaries. Also permission from the committee that approves these developments from Marty's Meadows. You'd also have to get some certification from CID about what he built. And he has a month to do that. And if he can't provide that information, or if it's not correct, if it doesn't correct the problem, then we will have to vote a certain way.
We're gonna be providing a timeline.
We would be for a month, a motion to table till a month from now, or our month, would be our meeting in March, would be in March. And in that period of time, he would have the approval process to get his ILR done, prove where his boundaries are, find out if he's encroaching on anybody else's property, get it inspected by CID, someone that has to inspect the construction.
Would that be a little less than a month if we have the meeting in March, second week?
No, it's a fourth Thursday is our,
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be about a month.
And then talk with his HOA,
I'm sorry?
the HOA.
Yeah, he has to get permission with the HOA, he has to do what he should have done before he built the thing.
Right.
Is there a
Because
Martin Meadow Planning Committee? Do we know that?
Well, Derek, he has to find that out, we don't have, that's an internal type
Yeah.
issue for the homeowners association, that has nothing to do with us.
Mr.
Yes.
Chair, members of the commission, this is a legal document. It has recorded with the county clerk's office. There's a booking page number. And if you look at Article D, number 1, last sentence in that paragraph under land use and building type, quote, garages and carports are subject to review and approval by Marty's Meadows Planning Committee. So Mr. Herrera, the burden is on him to determine if there is a planning committee, and if there is, to make a presentation to them. If there isn't, to come back to this body and present his findings. And there's also another very important part. If you look at Article, we're still in. Go to Article B, still D, number 13. A, B, and go to the next page. I think there's a page missing, but you're gonna go to number 4. It says building location. And it says no building shall be located on any lot nearer than 25 feet to the front lot line. That kind of mirrors our R6 setback requirement, which is, I believe, is 30 feet. Is that correct for R6? For the,
30 feet if it's detached, if it was attached to the house,
then it would be the 25?
15.
15, okay. So it mirrors what chapter 350 of the city code is asking for. What I would want to stress also to this body is that when we met with Mr. Herrera, we let him know that he need to come to this body for permission. But also that this is an application for a special use permit. You as a body have permission or have the authority to give him permission for 1 year, no greater than 5 years. That means he has to come back every 5 years. If you give him 5 years, he needs to come back every 5 years and get permission for that
You're
carport.
doing training
The
tonight.
reason for that
You're
is
gonna do training
because
tonight?
Yeah.
Did you need those e-test cards?
No, I'm from how to do the web part.
Almost done here, baby.
the reason for that is because if Mr. Herrera
That's our morning.
gets approved, let's say you approved and he had applied for a variance. And he's decided to sell his property next month. And he got his variance approved today, that variance in that carport would go in that sale. Right now, if you would grant him approval for his request for a special use permit, if he sells his property next month, for example, that special use permit goes away and that new homeowner would need to take down that carport. Or come back to this body and ask for permission.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Baker, you know, that's great, you know, but you're explaining just that we can issue variance, but yet he's still not in compliance with the HOA.
That's correct,
requirement.
yes.
So you have a conflict there. The HOA might say, we may say, yes, HOA said you overstepped our boundaries.
Right, yes.
So, you know, I think I would rather go with the process that you're suggesting, a 30-day, and get back with us all the information, but I will not make the motion because I don't know.
Let me correct my timing on the meeting too. You're right, Commissioner Chavez, we meet on the second Thursday, so it would be April.
April would be, it would be allowed time.
Okay, so do I have a motion, anybody can table till.
I'll
the date
motion,
certain.
I will motion that we table this case until the April meeting. And in that time, Mr. Herrera is going to comply with what he needs to do to make this basically legal. He needs to contact his HOA.
Can you write that down for me?
And she'll go, they'll give you all of that.
I'll give you everything.
Okay, thank you.
The HOA determined that if you have one and you need to meet with them, you need to meet with Ms. Baker here too and make sure all the paperwork is in order. You need to get, either with a contractor or CID, I don't know who would be, to inspect it and make sure it was built correctly since it wasn't built by a licensed contractor. And am I missing anything?
Yes, the ILR.
And also we need proof of your boundaries for your land. So we need either your survey or an updated, like they say, it's called an LIR that shows. ILR, I'm sorry. Anyway, I mixed them up. Anyway, but that'll show where all your boundaries are to make sure that you're not over on them. Okay, and when you come back in April, if you have all that for us, we'll reconsider it.
I'll begin with her,
Right.
every time I get some more information. Okay.
Members of the committee, the commission, honorable chair, I will commit to working with Mr. Herrera and get him through this process. So when we come back before you in April, we
Have a clear
intend to
picture.
have all this documentation that you're asking for. If not, I'll definitely keep you updated, okay?
Can someone refresh my memory? Do we need a vote on the table? I don't believe we do. Once someone table, it just say it gets tabled.
Let me ask Elizabeth. Elizabeth, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. And
Elizabeth, does the commission need to vote on tabling?
yes, ma'am, because Commissioner Bustos made a motion, so you need a second and a vote.
I second it.
Can you tell me who seconded it?
Ross Chavez.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez.
You can take a vote.
The Honorable Chair J.R. Trujillo,
For the motion to table with conditions.
table with conditions. Honorable Commissioner J.D. Martinez,
In favor.
Honorable Commissioner Joe Salazar,
In favor with conditions.
favor with conditions. Honorable Commissioner Ross Chavez,
For the motion with conditions.
with conditions, okay. And Honorable Honorable Commissioner Christine Bustos,
For the motion with the attached conditions.
with conditions. Let the record show the motion passed. Miss Elizabeth, did you get that?
Yes, ma'am, I did, and I have the conditions and the motion.
Thank you very much.
I'll close the public hearing. It is now 6:55.
6:55, let the record show. I'll work with you, okay? Vince and I will work with you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you're welcome to go home and rest.
Right, that can go.
Okay. This is yours,
Yes.
okay? Is this yours? Okay.
You want some more pills?
No, I don't take pills.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, he has my information. Thank you. You're absolutely, that's what we're here to help.
You told me that right there by the night.
Oh, that is for the invoice.
Go ahead and open up and then I'll say something else happens, I'll talk to you.
Absolutely. And we're gonna do what we can to help, okay?
Yes. Okay, thank
We can talk about this, you're welcome to come and visit with me in the office, it's just that we need to get back to the public meeting, okay? My name is Lou Baker, okay? And I'm always here, okay?
Okay. We'll talk about the second public hearing here. So we will be opening the public hearing for another special use review, 2023-03, Lawrence Roy Ball applicant requests approval of a special use permit to allow a second dwelling structure on a 2.4 acre lot currently addressed at 1929 Coyote Ball. The subject property is the R6 Urban Residential District. From the audience, who's here to speak on the Lawrence Roy Ball case? Is anybody here for Lawrence Roy Ball? Is he here? He's on.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Royball is on the Zoom call with me.
Thank you. So, Mr. Roy Ball, would you please stand so we can swear you in?
I'm not sure how to put him.
Okay, there you are.
Okay,
Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth?
I swear.
Thank you. Is there any other members in the audience or on Zoom that wish to speak for or against this request? Nobody? Can you see Zoom? I can't see Zoom. So is anybody else besides him?
Just.
No, sir,
Okay.
nobody else.
So staff, your report, please.
Mr. Chair, Trujillo, Commissioners, I'll be presenting memo case number 2023-03, applicant Lawrence Roy Ball. Subject is a special use review. Lawrence Roy Ball applicant is requesting approval for a special use permit to place a second mobile home rental unit on his property at 1929 Coyote Ball. This property is zoned R6 urban residential. There is already a mobile home unit on subject property, and the R6 zoning district allows for one dwelling unit per lot. Brief background, Mr. Lawrence Roy Ball acquired the subject property in 2001. At that time, the property already had two mobile home trailers along with utility hookups for municipal water, New Mexico Gas Company, and Hamas Electric Co-op. The property has a cesspool and leach lines. City of Espanola utility records show there are two accounts for this property. Utility records also show the final bill date of July 6, 2021, at which time the mobile home was moved out. The summary is the subject property consists of 2.407 acres and is located to the south of the Vista del Rio subdivision and east of the Eliano subdivision, currently zoned R6 urban residential. The front of the property has been determined to be the south side of the property. The applicant is requesting a special use for the placement of a second mobile home trailer, which not allowed administratively. The applicant wishes to place the second dwelling structure west of the current mobile home on said lot. The Planning and Land Use Department has taken different approaches to allowances for second dwelling units over the last 40 years. The city tended to review and permit temporary placements of mobile homes on property with existing houses, generally with a 2-year review and consistent with the other use variances and special exceptions also common during this time. The meeting minutes reflect that the majority of these cases did come back consistently every 2 years. While occasionally some were denied, rarely were any granted permanent acceptance. Because neither the applicant nor staff can find any documentation that the subject property was granted permanent acceptance of a second dwelling unit, which has since been removed, the prior existence of the mobile home cannot be considered compliant. Therefore, this case must be reviewed under current regulations as a special use for the placement of a mobile home as a second residential structure on a lot that already has a dwelling unit. Action tonight would be approval, conditional approval, or denial. Recommendation by the Planning and Land Use Department recommends approval of case 2023-03 with staff conditions of approval. Number one would be, should the Planning Commission choose to approve this request, the commission shall prescribe the point in time at which a special use is to begin, not to exceed 90 days from the meeting date, and the point in time when the special use shall expire, not to exceed 5 years. Special use permits are not transferable, and a transfer of the land ownership shall invalidate the special use. Condition number 2, the applicant must obtain a manufactured and mobile home placement permit from the Planning and Land Use Office along with the requested submittals. Condition number 3, the applicant must provide to the Planning and Land Use Office the contractor's copy of the City of Espanola business license. Condition number 4, the applicant must place mobile home according to the R6 zoning setbacks. Condition 5, the applicant must return and reapply to the Planning Commission at expiration of the special use permit for an extension. That concludes memo. Mr. Chair, Commissioners.
Any questions for staff?
Yes.
Yes, Christine Bluster.
Okay, have we had any complaints in the years where Mr. Regal has had that second mobile home there before? Have we had any complaints from the police or neighbors or anything like that on record?
There has been no complaints on record for the subject property by police department, neighbors, or code enforcement officer.
Okay, and at this time, obviously, when the first mobile home was placed there, there probably was not sewer connection. Is he able to connect to city sewer now?
I believe he is outside of the 300 feet required by ordinance.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions of staff? Okay. Mr. Regal, do you have any questions of staff, sir?
I don't.
Okay. And any questions from the audience of staff? Okay. At this time, thank you, staff. Mr. Baldwin, you may have your seat. Mr. Regal, would you state your name again and please give us your presentation?
My name is Lawrence Roybal, and what was your second request?
Please make your presentation.
Oh, okay. So like Mr. Baldonado explained, I acquired the property in 2001 and it already had the hookups. And I had a tenant there. I saw the last time 2021, I think June was when the disconnect notice was that Mr. Baldonado said. So that tenant was there for like 14 years. And it had a previous tenant, but I know there's special requirements if you have to, if you want to put a lot there in city limits.
Sure.
And that's why I approached the
Mr.
planning.
Regal?
Yes.
Can you correct your audio so we can hear you a little better? You're kind of coming over muffled, sorry.
Okay, let me see. What about now? Can you hear me?
That's much better.
Better.
Okay. So like I said, I acquired the property in 2001. The property had its hookups when I acquired it. And there's been the last tenant was there vacated the property in June of 2021. And they were there approximately 14 years. And I knew I had to get special permission from the city to put another lot there. So that's why I'm approaching this plan. I mean, approached planning and zoning to get permission.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Any questions from the commission to Mr. Raybal? Yes, Mr. Joe Salazar.
Commissioner Salazar, Mr. Raybal, good question that Commissioner Bustos brought up. You will not be hooked up to any city sewer lines because this doesn't apply to your property. But you must have a cesspool or something. Or
Yes,
go. And do you maintain this cesspool, does it have the capacity to add another trailer?
Yeah, in fact, I maintain it all the time. I ensure the proper maintenance and, putting additives and occasion once a year, draining it for the leach line purposes. So that's how I maintain it. I put additives monthly, and then I drain it, whatever. If the cesspool is full, then I'll have to drain it more, but it hasn't been because I try to maintain it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Raybal? Okay. Any questions of, sorry, this is.
Yeah. So you have one cesspool that's hooked up for both of the trailers, that's used for both trailers,
Yes.
just clarifying.
There's one cesspool and the leach line is approximately, there's two of them, and they're on the property. They extend about 70 foot each. Or what is it? No, 120, I'm sorry.
So Mr. Raybal, was that leach field and cesspool, it's probably a septic tank. Does that system have a New Mexico EID permit?
When I purchased the property, it was already there. So I haven't checked if how current it is as in 2001.
So maybe that's something we could get an inspection on. Steph, do you have any questions of Mr. Raybal? Any members of the audience or neighboring properties that have questions of Mr. Raybal? No one in the audience? Okay. Mr. Raybal, thank you very much. Do you have any questions of staff, Mr. Raybal?
So you said that you probably won't want to see the condition of my leach line and cesspool. That's probably the condition what I'm hearing that the city wants for me to do, or you guys are the plan.
We
Is that
haven't made that condition yet, but that's something that I'd be thinking about to make sure it gets inspected and make sure it's, since you bought the property with that septic tank, a lot of times you can't buy property with a septic tank unless they have a permit and they got an EID permit to make sure it's compliant.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So let me close the session of public comments, and I will entertain a motion from the commissioners.
I'll make a motion to approve this, it's a special exception, right?
Special use permit.
Special use permit for the time limit of 5 years with the condition that Mr. Raybal does present to us, to the planning department, a EID inspection permit on the sewer system, that it can handle the 2 dwellings. Other than that, because, I just motion for approval. I mean, the land is big enough to handle this.
So can I ask for a clarification?
Sure.
So normally, EID doesn't do an inspection. What you would do is you'd hire a certified.
But you would still have to go and get a permit, wouldn't you?
No, because it's already in place. So
Oh, okay.
now he could request if there is a copy of the permit on file, depending on how old the system is.
Well,
but we can get it inspected like you.
right,
would
a
if you
current
were to sell a car.
inspection then,
Current inspection, yeah.
to make sure that it is,
It's a working system.
right.
And are we going to include the other 5 conditions that the staff has made?
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's part of my motion, with the conditions stated from the planning department.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Bustos, will be a total of 6 conditions.
Right.
Staff conditions is noted, plus
Okay, and that would be a current inspection on the septic system, if it has a capacity for 2 households.
yeah, if it's functioning right, they inspect the thing and make sure it's.
He has the land, it's just make sure it's done right.
I agree. Do I have a second for that?
I second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
Mr. Chairman, can you tell me who seconded?
Ross Chavez?
Thank you. I'll get your voice down soon.
Okay, you take the roll.
Yes. Commissioner, the Honorable Commissioner Christine Bustos
Yes, with conditions.
with conditions. Honorable Chair J.R. Trujillo,
In favor of the motion with conditions.
Honorable Commissioner J.D. Martinez,
In favor with, what was that last part?
The motion is for the conditions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the conditions.
Conditions.
the Honorable Vice Chair Joe Salazar,
In favor with conditions?
just give me a second, I can't write that fast, and I just wondered if I have my notes. And the Honorable Commissioner, Mr. Ross
In
Chavez.
favor with conditions also.
Honorable Chair, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Roy Ball, and staff will work with you. And we will put together a memo recapping what happened tonight, and we'll move forward working with you on your mobile home permit and whatever we need to do to help you with your property, okay?
Thank you very much.
That's for a 5-year.
And that's for 5 years. You get it for 5 years.
And then,
It will be calendared, so it'll pop up in 4.5 years. And you will be sent a certified letter stating that your special use permit is going to expire in 6 months. And the burden is on you to come back to the body and reapply for another special use permit.
I understand.
And this
Understand.
will only mention something to you in closing before we move to the next public hearing. So we are currently working on what's called a minor subdivision ordinance, which is for your exact type of property. It's an R6 property, okay, an acre or bigger, all right? So you might want to stay tuned, ask Ms. Baker about that and Dennis Baldwin about that. In the near future, we're supposed to have our first reading here at the end of February.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, before we go to the last public hearing, would we like to have a bathroom break or anything? Are you guys okay?
Want to take a break?
Want to take a 5-minute break?
I'm okay, but it's up to you.
Let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back in 10 minutes.
You guys, see
You
if
got
there's
Bye-bye.
water there, the rest of down the hall.
Okay, okay.
I have, come with me, Anna.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you don't want that.
And JT, how come you're so quiet, bro?
I'm listening to what's going on.
That,
One more, Liz.
Miss Teeny, can you catch?
Huh?
Catch.
Thank you.
I did one too.
Caramel, yeah, Werther's original.
Well, those are my favorites. That's the only candy I
Caramel. They're like the butterscotch caramel.
Now they make it sugar free, but I don't like those.
Yeah, that's not bad.
This is.
Oh, she's here. See,
Well, that's just fine.
Corvette, she doesn't let me- I do Corvette.
What year?
2023. I'll let her drive it.
Don't let you touch it.
She says the devil makes me do things.
It's true.
It's true.
It's a red. What color is it? Oh, the devil made a picture of it. Okay.
Lo que corrieron a la de Sánchez.
We lost over 100 people in the last year. She's, and that, well, with me was another thing, she and I never saw eye to eye, but, she, and well, her main fault was, she didn't know she had a boss.
Don't do a selfie.
She didn't know she had a boss.
Mr. Reyes.
She did anything she wanted and wouldn't tell the person.
It was experience.
Okay.
And it was
Yeah, you know, even now, the last couple of years I was at,
You had fun.
Oh, my God.
our budget went up from 22 million to 86 million in 6 months. She wouldn't tell us where the money's coming from, you know, that was her main problem. She was smart and everything, but between that, and then she got rid of people left and right that she couldn't work with, a lot of them left.
The other thing is, I have to.
And you know, some people are meant to be bosses and some people are not meant to be
I was
bosses.
very impressed with.
Cause I didn't know her
Well, I
before
know
she even
that.
started, you know, I didn't know her.
No, but.
But there's Moises crying that they put her out like that, when that's how he put her in.
It was honor about.
They did the same exact thing,
Yeah, they did. You do.
you know?
That's politics.
Yeah, that's a main part I didn't like.
You need to know what
Yeah.
side of the bed you need to butter.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
That's good.
I'd say he was.
Upset me
Was her
was
verbal attack.
a misunderstanding and miscommunication.
Oh, it is-
Have you found any more outlets for the tin?
That's called verbal.
Cause a while back I was gonna go look for the tin and they don't have like the one we used to get.
The original one, you can't get anymore.
That's what I got.
Can't have it, it's got lead in it.
Oh,
You know, the easiest place we can buy it is in
Information, you go over.
get the, like the flashing stuff, yeah, that's what I've got.
Okay, and then information is.
I haven't done too much, but
Then what do you do?
I was thinking, you know.
I will close this. So that's what they went.
There's a place in Martinez, California, you can buy it, but you need to buy a ton. But it costs more to ship it. And then if you rent a truck, forget it, it's really gonna be expensive.
It's too bad I don't have my uncle with his semi.
Yeah.
Oh. We'll get you guys out of here soon, hopefully.
JD,
Oh, an orange, a tangerine.
Sumo, when do you want to schedule that meeting?
So right now, I'm gonna go get one of those.
they're right there in the paper.
Here, I'll get you, I'll go get you. I'll get it again. There you go.
Send JR, I mean, send Ross.
Breakfast still there.
It's okay, we're gonna start here shortly, so. We'll get back to work.
My cats are cleaning beans with me.
Oh, look at that.
Let me see.
That's cool.
How many do you have?
Two, they're brother and sister.
Oh.
Anyway, I was
No
cleaning.
dogs?
No, I lost mine in I lost mine in August and I thought I'd wait till it was warm. Cause you're gonna have to be in and out with them.
Well, Ross has us, right now, it's just one that he wants to get rid of, so.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. Oh, no, Jared's been trying to give me one too for a while.
Yeah, it's probably Rottweiler.
They were, I was cleaning beans and then I got up with the bowl to go wash them.
Please don't invite me to eat those.
No, we
And
didn't.
invite us to eat at your house.
Yeah.
You don't know what Kojima is?
I know, but yeah, I gotta,
Teeny,
my birthday passed and I need
Teeny
to
could be a chef.
So anyway. Look, did you see what I made for?
Let's meet back to order. It's 7:24. And we're gonna hear our last public hearing. This is public hearing 2023-04, which is a variance request review for Martin Trujillo applicant, request variance approval on setbacks for a greenhouse already built on property currently addressed as 315 Camino del Sol. The subject property is in the B2 General Commercial District. So who is here to speak on behalf of the request for a variance?
Are you the applicant?
Okay. That's Martine, and who else in the audience is here to speak either for or against? Would you all stand so we can swear you in? Okay, raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you may be seated, thank you. Staff, can we hear your report?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, members of the commission. Today is Thursday, February the 9th, no, excuse me, the 16th. We are here to listen to case number 2023-04. It's a request for a variance. The applicant is Mr. Martin Trujillo. And Mr. Martin Trujillo is requesting a variance for the property addressed as 315 Camino del Sol. The applicant is requesting approval on side setbacks for an approximately 204 square foot addition to the west side of his primary residence. The property is 0.114 acres and is currently zone B2 general commercial. Staff recommends there are three actions that can be taken. Approval with conditions or denial. Staff is recommending a conditional approval. The greenhouse cannot be used for commercial use. The structure cannot be connected to water, electricity, sewer, or other utilities. The applicant is requesting approval for a 204 square foot greenhouse addition to the west side of his primary residence at 315 Camino del Sol. Camino del Sol is a city street of approximately 14 lots ranging in size from 0.11 acres to 0.96 acres. This lot was originally zoned B2 into the city of Espanola after the zoning code was passed in 1976. Since the area's original annexation, no rezoning of the lots fronting the street has occurred. As a result, nearly all of the lots do not meet the minimum requirements of the B2 zoning district, and all of the parcels that have residents on them are legal non-conforming. Not a single lot currently meets all of the size, setbacks, and lot coverage requirements for the zoning district. 315 Camino del Sol is among the legal non-conforming lots is one among the legal non-conforming lots in the area. And the lot is 0.114 acres, less than 12,000 square feet, the minimum lot size for a B2. And the setbacks of the main structure are currently 15 feet at the front, 47 feet at the rear, and 17 feet on the east side and 10 feet on the west side. With the constructed addition, the applicant will reduce the already non-conforming west side setback, leaving a remaining 1 foot clearing between the structure and the property boundary. According to the city accessory structure, to city code, accessory structure should have a 10-foot distance from the main structure from any nearby building. The subject greenhouse structure is in the B2 zone, but the lot size is small and does not meet the minimum lot size for the B2. I also want to stress, this is a request for a variance. This is not a request for a special use permit. This variance will stay with the property infinitely. And also there is a report from Fire Marshal Pablo Montoya. He conducted a site visit in regards to the 10-foot requirement between a primary structure and an accessory dwelling or accessory structure. Mr. Montoya states, there is no concern at this time for fire life safety issues at this location. Mr. Trujillo attached or submitted with his application some hand-drawn plans. They are scaled 1/8 of an inch to 1 foot. They show the utility overhead, utility lines. Some the back porch, the front porch, some utility, for example, the meter. And then also the window placement. I would like to stress, if the commission tonight approves this application for a variance, the greenhouse cannot be used for commercial use. Staff recommends that the greenhouse only be used for personal use. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Any questions from the commission or staff? Ms. Baker, do you have a drawing that you can show us this structure actually being built and it's already built? I see the site plan, but I don't see the greenhouse jutting out from the unit on the west side.
Yeah, Google Earth hasn't put it up yet.
I know.
Really small lot.
That's a joke.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I apologize. I did not include contemporary photos. We've been out there, we've done site visits. Mr. Maldonado went out, and posted the sign for this public notice. And the photos that are in the packet are what we have right now on the city website. But these aerials, these aerials that the city are currently using were the last flyover the city had was in 2016. So when you look at the photo, the greenhouse is not reflected in these aerial photos. But I just want to stress this lot is a very small lot when you look at it in relation to the other, well, all the lots on that street are small. But I don't have any contemporary photos, sir.
Any other questions for staff? Yes.
Did you mention, Mr. Baker, that most of those homes don't meet the lot requirements?
That's correct.
None of them do.
Well, the
None of
reason
them.
why is it's B2 commercial because of the zoning, so they are all legal non-conforming.
All of them are legal non-conforming, the whole street.
Actually, I do have one question.
Yes, Ms.
Ms. Baker, so we know that this room was built and they're basically right on the lot line
Yes.
or whatever. How far is it to the next structure that the next lot? Is it safe enough?
You know, we do have photos, because you went out and you sent me, so.
Just for, although if the fire marshal said it was okay, it should be okay. But I'm just wondering, because even though he's on the lot line, just in terms of if there was to be a fire.
We-
so-
It's very close.
It is
Do a
very
site
close.
visit and it's almost abutting to the next building.
I apologize, sir, members of the commission. We do have some photos because I asked Mr. Baldonado to go out there and actually stand along the fence and take a photo down the fence so that we could see the distance between the two properties. So give me just a moment, we're gonna put it up here for you, okay? Give me just a moment. These two.
Have you seen the new one? The baby, Asher,
Oh,
from the pictures, he's gonna look like.
you should be here.
Like Jason
No,
and Dex. Yeah. I love my nieces. Someone got my brother and my sister-in-law gonna start taking farm animals to the stores and stuff. They don't have grass.
That's your smart. I'm the one that, you know, put that in there. Okay, I'm actually. I mean. Yeah. No.
Maybe go get that. Move forward. This- Steve, ask, so are there any more questions? Are there any more questions of the commission from staff? Gentlemen, ladies? If not, Mr. Trujillo, do you have any questions for the staff? No. The other folks in the audience, do you have any questions for staff?
Yes, did, Mr. Trujillo get a permit for building? Or, adding on to that porch that was there? Were there any permits pulled at all on the building?
Honorable Chair, members of the commission, no, there's no record that we have in our files.
Okay, so after I called in June, to the code enforcement for him building walls and doors and cutting down, my trees, did he, ask permission from the city to do that?
No, I don't have any. Ms. Baldonado, do you have them? Because this was in June. Because Muhammad was still with us at that time. Do you remember if anyone came in?
I don't know about that time.
Muhammad was our planning director at that time, Mr. Hussein. And then I came in the middle of August, late August, after he passed away. And so while we were doing research to prepare for tonight, I did not find anything in code enforcement or in
In the
a
plan?
request for a building permit or anything, so,
Okay,
okay?
Thank you.
And Lou, is it correct to say that if there would have been a permit issued, you would have had record of that? Is that
That's correct, yes, sir.
So no permits were issued that we are.
That's
Here,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
this is Elizabeth, the stenographer. May I ask for the name of the person who, from the public who just spoke?
Martha Gomez Fisher,
Martha, I'm sorry, Martha what?
Gomez, Gamez -FISHER.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gomez Fisher.
Mr. Chair, I see in the packet, there is an application from license and regulations.
it was never processed.
It never processed.
And we'll ask that of the applicant. If you want to hold on for that. Okay, any other questions for staff? Okay, Mr. Trujillo, would you like to come forward and present your case, please?
Well, my case is, I started as building a porch, because we needed an area for the kids to play, and our grandkids they're started 13 and younger. So I made that porch there, and then my wife wanted to build a greenhouse, and so I just enclosed it, put up walls, and I didn't really realize that I needed to apply for a permit, but until I should have known, but I apologize for not doing the permit. And all I can say is it's just for the betterment of our family,
Anything else you'd like to say?
That's about it.
Members of the commission, you have any questions for the applicant? I'd like to ask about that state permit in the packet, they're not completed.
I have a question, Mr. Trujillo. In this document that's written, did you write this up yourself?
Yes, I did.
And you said that it's intended to be used for study room for your grandson?
Yes.
In junior high?
Mhm.
Without any utilities in there, electricity, heating, or plumbing. School years usually go through the winter. How do you expect your grandson to stay warm or provide lighting for reading or for any other type of things that he
Maybe just during the daytime, in the day hours, he'll be in there.
in the evening?
In the evening, like had to come inside the house,
No, that would be my concern for if this is your grandson.
Yes.
It's being out in the cold or trying to read without any lighting.
Any other questions from the commission? I'd like to ask a question there, Mr. Trujillo. So in our packet is a multi-purpose state building application. Did you complete that application? Did you submit it to the state? Because it doesn't have any record of it being approved or ever recorded at the state level.
Well, I thought I was just to bring it into here to these guys.
No, the state actually does inspections of things that you build when you get a state permit.
Well, I would have to send
So-
it to them now.
So it was
I didn't
never
send it to them.
inspected,
No,
never finalized?
I never sent it to them.
Okay, where did you get that format?
From the office here,
You got
from
this?
Mr. Baldwin.
Okay, all right. So you have some hand drawings here. And I think I see where you built the greenhouse, which is right. Let's see, which you don't have those on. You have these pictures in there, Vince?
They're not attached.
They're not attached, we just have it. So let's see, the greenhouse.
The last one.
The last one. So you have, you have a 10'7" according to your picture, here it is, 10'7", and you, this greenhouse gives you, not including the overhang. Are you over the property line with the overhang?
No,
You're not.
it's not over the property line.
How far away from the property line are you with the overhang?
It's like maybe 4 inches, 4 or 6 inches at the, to the fence line, but I have it, like I said, I put down, gutters. And it catches the rain and this,
But is it, it's not over extending onto their property line?
no, it's not.
Did you use any, because you're now so close to their property line, did you use any type of 5/8 fire code drywall on the interior walls to make that?
I stopped construction when I got the notice from
Okay,
Mr.
so it's not
Baldwin.
finished on the inside
The
yet?
inside is not finished.
You just have the studs there?
The studs are exposed, yes.
That's good to know. Now, Mr. Commissioner Salzar mentioned this is not to have any type of utilities in the greenhouse structure
No, I don't have any, no water or electricity lines in
or
there.
heating. So it's just gonna be used for indoor plants and a study room during the day,
That's
kind of
it.
like a sunroom, is that what you're?
That's it. It's
So,
only a sunroom.
so when you say greenhouse, that throws a whole different perspective on what you're building. Is it more like an enclosed porch that's a sunroom?
Right?
So now what you can just gonna drag.
But the windows are installed,
The windows are already up,
and
yes.
the exterior is done, the siding done?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Any other questions from staff, Mr. Trujillo?
Honorable, Chair, we have our photos,
Oh, okay.
okay? So, that's a fence line in the center where the tree line is.
Okay.
And so we're standing right at the fence line. I believe, Ms. Fisher, your home is the one on the, on the right, correct?
On the left.
On the left, okay. And the greenhouse is the one on the right. Okay, we're gonna show you one more photo.
Can we, before you move on, what is the setback to the other structure from the fence? Are they, they're outside of the 10 feet? Are they close to the 10 feet?
No, they're, none of them are in compliance to.
Yeah, but I was just wondering what their setback is.
I don't know, sir, I failed to measure that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let me show you one more photo. If I can get another one opened up here, here we go, I think this one's a better one. Just takes a little while to get this.
Tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's very, very, very close to the fence line. Then you have the tree line. And Mr. Baldonado and I reached out to Fire Marshal Pablo Montoya, and he went out and he did a site visit. And he submitted that report to you.
Yes, we saw that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Trejo's residency and structures on the left side of the picture now, and the neighbors are to the right, is that correct?
No,
No, we're on the left.
We're on
The opposite.
Okay, you're still on the left then? Okay.
So,
The trees are on, not on your property, correct?
so they're on mine.
On your
and
So
side.
these are Fisher trees. This is the Fisher residence, and then here's the greenhouse.
I just,
In the window there.
all right. Okay. Thank you very much.
With the overhangs still on your
Close to
property.
the fence.
With the gutter.
Any other questions of staff of the applicant? So, yeah. So, Ms. Fisher, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Trujillo, did you ask for permission before you cut down trees on our property line and on my property?
Those
did you ask-
trees,
Did you ask me or my husband for permission to cut down our trees on our property and on the property line?
those trees are actually on the, property line, on the line.
If they're on the line, then
And
they're,
before you guys came in, I was trimming those trees to keep them from being a falling hazard.
But the trees were on our side of the fence.
the trees were on our side of the fence.
Mr. Trio, did you trim the branches that were extending on your side, or did you trim stuff that was extending on the Fisher side?
Pretty much, I trimmed I trimmed the trees because,
They're on your side, the branches are on your side,
well, they were on the fence line.
so they're on your side.
They're actually on the fence line, so I just cut them. I mean, I don't wanna be a falling hazard because they grow up high. I know up in Taos at my dad's, I would trim the trees all the time because the Chinese elms grow up. And then they just become a hazard.
Hang on, Joe. Any other questions, Ms. Fisher?
Yes,
Yeah.
on June 23rd, when I ran outside because 20 feet of one of those trees, which was on my side, fell on my carport. And I asked you what you were doing, what did you say?
Throwing the trees.
You cut a tree and it fell on my house and shook my whole house, and I came outside and asked you what you were doing. What did you tell me?
Well, what did I tell you?
What did you tell me? When I asked you, what are you doing?
Throwing the trees.
So at that point, when you fell a tree on my house with your ladder on my property, trespassing, and I asked you to stop cutting my trees, did you stop?
Well, I had to finish the job. I mean, I had to get them off.
Exactly.
Ms.
Right.
Fisher, if I can interject a little bit. So we're here to hear the case of the structure. If you have other issues that maybe are civil matters you need to take before a judge and a court, I would suggest you do that. So if you have any questions about the structure itself, that's probably more of what we're here to listen to.
I do.
Okay, what else do you have?
Mr. Trujillo, did you research or apply for a permit at any point while you were building this structure?
No, I haven't.
Are you a licensed carpenter or someone who's licensed to build?
I've worked for licensed contractors. I'm not licensed myself. But I know what I'm doing. Obviously, see the building.
Any other questions, Ms. Fisher?
How many times, did code enforcement come and tell you that you were out of compliance with setback?
No,
Did the planning, so did you apply to planning? Did you continue to build after planning told you that you were not minding the setback?
no, I did not.
No, absolutely not.
We stopped at that point. That's what I told the commission.
So at what point did you stop? What was the date of you stopping when they told you to stop?
I didn't mark it down on my calendar, obviously.
The day we found the card is the
Ma'am,
day we
excuse me.
stopped.
That's when we
Ma'am,
stopped.
excuse me, yes,
Sorry.
you need to remain. Mr. Trujillo is answering questions from Ms. Fisher. Ms. Fisher, any other questions?
No.
All right, any other, yes, JD, you have a question for the applicant?
The question that I have is, were these trees planted, were they bought, or are
No.
they Chinese elm?
They're growing
Wild
wild. They're
trees.
growing wild on the fence line.
Do we have anything in the city that says, we can cut them or not cut them?
I don't know, but I can tell you that Chinese elms are listed as an undesirable tree in the city of West New Orleans. There has been some talk about having them moved and cut down, but I don't know if it's their responsibility.
I have some on my property that I consider the weeds.
I know.
I had some Chinese elms on my property and the top branches went over the neighbor's property. They were planted on my site. This guy bought that piece of land and he came over to me and called me all kinds of names that aren't in the dictionary. And he told me that he wanted me to cut those branches off from his site.
All right.
I have my own opinion of Chinese elms, sorry.
I understand.
It's just that since it was brought up,
Yeah.
you know, if they were apple trees that your neighbor paid hundreds of dollars for, it'd be a different story.
Any other questions for the applicant? From anybody on the
I
commission?
think it's commendable that you do something for your grandson to be able to work on that garden.
So thank you, Mr. Trio. You
Thank
may
you.
have a seat. And now, Ms. Fisher, would you like to speak for or against the request? Please come to the podium, state your name again. We're going to do a public record.
My name is Martha Gomez Fisher, and I am the aggrieved party who was served notice for this hearing. My husband and I are owners of 309 Camino del Sol, which is abut to Martin Trujillo's property at 315 Camino del Sol. I have an interest in the negation of the variance requested due to damage to my property caused by Mr. Trujillo and further potential damage the structure may cause because of being built improperly. When we bought 309 Camino del Sol in April 2020, the structure that the petitioner now calls a greenhouse was a porch that extended to the property line, a tin roof attached to the main house, extending the space between Mr. Trujillo's house to the property line. The trees on our property line grew into the roof tin of said porch. The minimum setback was not at that time respected by Mr. Trujillo, but it was during COVID and I didn't want to have a problem with my neighbor. In June of 2022, on or about June 23rd, he began without my permission cutting trees not only on our property line, but also trees clearly within my property without permission. At that point, I reached out to code enforcement, which assured me the matter of the ordinance against such buildings should be prohibited. The code enforcement officer said there were no permits for construction applied or paid for at 315 Camino del Sol. After several months of communication, the code enforcement officer said the case was transferred to planning department as Mr. Trujillo was asking for a variance on the setback. But that surely would not pass because of the violations of the said ordinance regarding property lines and setback rules. Throughout this time, in June, Mr. Trujillo continued to build solid walls with small windows on 2 of the walls. The west facing wall has exterior glass doors under a protruding porch with flooring. The roof is attached to the main building as noted in the photo. I have photos for you to look at. Also said greenhouse has gutters. Under the definition of the articles and codes, a greenhouse has no gutters or semblance to what Mr. Trujillo built. What Mr. Trujillo has done is built an accessory structure or guest room with double pane windows that open. The guest room extends up to our property line. Mr. Trujillo neither sought the city's permission by permit or his neighbor's permission to trespass on our property, cut our trees, and invade our setback. I am against this building variance request under Article 406. It says the granting of the variance sought will not be contrary to the purpose or intent of this chapter or injurious to property within 100 feet or otherwise detrimental to the general health, safety, or general welfare of the community. It says, on B of that, should any request for variance not meet all 4 of the above listed criteria, the Planning Commission shall deny the request. I did have, under Article 108 and general provisions, A greenhouse is a structure constructed chiefly of glass, plastic, or translucent material, which is devoted to the cultivation of flowers or other tender plants. When I did talk to Mr. Trujillo, I asked him what was he doing, and he said he needed more space, and he needed a room for his boy. And I understand that, but it's a butt to my property. Those houses are already old. I'm worried about fire. Even in Chimayo the other day, that burned down to the ground, and all they could do is stand there. I called the fire department. We have 2 firehouses here in Espanola. Off the top of his head, the lieutenant I spoke with said the closest fire hydrant is at Santa Clara, which is across the street. But in the case of a fire that, they would show up. We bought in Espanola because it's a 1937 adobe on Vigil Land Grant with full apricot trees and trees all around, and I love living on that street. At the end of the street, there's an apple orchard. Everyone is pretty much very friendly. And I love my house, and I want to make sure that it's safe from fire, which I would say most houses, including Mr. Trujillo's, have wood burning stoves. So there is debris that goes up. And with us being that close, my concern is for, if lighting, if water, if anything like that happens. Also, the gutters are jetting over our property line, over the fence line. And that water is gonna come on my side, interfering with my land, if a lot of water comes. So I would like to know what the plan is for that. I do have pictures. The first picture it says 2020, that was the existing those existing trees on, and then 2023 is the one. This is close up of the picture showing when the porch is all the way up to, and you can see the trees that are growing into that. And I do understand that none of those are conforming. I think at the widest part between my structure and the fence line, it's 4 point something. It's not even 5 feet. And at the very end, because of the way the lots are drawn, it's 2.9 feet to his border. This picture has the porch that he built under his greenhouse. That's, I think, west facing. There's no sun going in there. With the tree line, there's no sun. There's no way plants are gonna grow there. That's a bedroom that they built. Also, this is the other house, my other neighbor, and this is there's literally 10 feet between our house and the other house, which is James Rowe House. And then there's gonna be probably at the most 5 feet between his house and ours now. I just from listening to y'all, I trust your judgment. I'm very thankful that y'all are just and thorough in your choices. And I just leave this petition to not grant this at your feet and ask you to make the best choice you can make for our community.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the commission or administration?
Question.
Yes, Mr. Chad.
So when you bought your house, his porch was already there, not enclosed, but the actual porch.
The porch was already there, and that was in 2020, of April of 2020.
And it sat exactly where it was as far as the, close to your property line with the gutter.
No, it did not. The trees were growing into his roof. He cut down those trees and
Which were
put it,
his trees on his property,
they're both ours. They're on the property line.
and the porch was there.
Mhm.
Okay. And so the, sorry,
Yes.
and the damage you referred to were the trees that he cut.
Yes. Were the trees that he cut and on my property and on the property line. Then those were for my enjoyment that I bought that house for. And that whole line on that property line, that gives our backyard part of its shade. And now that's not there anymore.
Mr. Martinez.
On your pictures that you showed us, you have a wooden fence. There's a wooden fence and there's a wooden fence between the two properties.
That's his fence.
That's his.
Mhm. That's on his side. He cut trees on my side.
I
And
didn't ask I didn't ask about trees on their side, I'm asking about the
the
wooden.
fence,
the wooden
he
fence.
had,
And there's trees on that wooden fence that were cut. And since it's on his side, he had the right to cut them. You didn't?
the houses are on the property line. They were not on his side. They were on the property line
The property line
between
that-
us.
the same as the wooden fence? Or does it?
When
or
he
does it
did,
go- Do you have an abstract, do you have a,
I do. My husband
Survey?
has a survey on his phone.
how far is his wooden fence away from your property line?
The thing that happened is that he cut down all those trees and he put a new wooden fence. So I wouldn't know.
Well, if you have an abstract and you had a survey, you should be able to see where it's at.
I can show you the
I'd
abstract.
like to know if that wooden fence is on his property or yours. You said it's on his.
I'm not sure. He put up this next. There used to be a wire fence. There's an antique part of the front of the wire fence, but he has removed.
Is the wooden wall, the wooden fence on the same fence line?
I would say it wiggles back and forth between the trees. It wiggles back and forth on the property line of the trees.
I'm having an issue with that. It would be nice if you had survey markers that showed your property versus his.
I
I've had my own issues with, I own a lot of property in the city. I own the old theater. And my neighbor claimed that one tree that started on her property went through the fence line and leaned over to mine, was my tree. The roots were on her side. It depends on how you see things.
Mr. Martinez, let me just pull things back to what we're dealing with tonight. So we have an applicant for a variance for a building he built. And I think the question for the commission is about his structure. Did he build it on his property with proper setbacks? If not, are we gonna allow him to have that variance to have less than what is required on setbacks? And I wanna go again with Ms. Fisher. I don't wanna focus on trees because that's not the issue here. If that's a civil issue you have on trees, you need to sell that in court of law.
Yes, I
We're
understand.
here to talk about the applicant in regards to putting this project on the property and how the commission views that, okay? But are there any other questions for Ms. Fisher about this project, about the actual building? I'll ask you a question. So you said that you feel this building is a hazard to your home and for your structure. What hazard do you fear this building will cause to your house?
That it's one, that it's that close and it's not, one that if there's a fire, it's gonna jump to my property.
So we have a report from the fire department that they don't consider that an issue, that they say it's a non-issue. And maybe, I don't know if they shared that with you, but I'm sure.
No, I heard about it.
Planning and zoning director can give you a copy of that, just so you know. So we have a report from the fire marshal, Pablo, that says that there's no concerns in regards to fire. Now, if the porch is already there, you made a comment to that, okay? When you bought the house. Now they've chosen to enclose this porch and he's stating for a greenhouse, okay? It's not gonna have power, it's not gonna have electricity, it's not gonna have water, it won't have gas, there's no utilities running to this enclosed porch. So, does that lessen any of your concerns about any type of a problem that could cause to your own structure?
Well, you can rule that it's not gonna have access to water or this or that. But as he states, he knows better and he knows how to build things and he's not gonna seek this commission's or code enforcement or the planning committee unless he's pushed into this position. And my worry is that if he didn't comply in that, what's gonna say that he doesn't put a few extensions and put a heater in there and still finish it off and make it a bedroom and do what he wants anyways. And then at that point, how am I still gonna be safe or not? And that's just my concern, that if he didn't seek a permit and he didn't seek a contractor and he didn't seek to be up to code, then why is he gonna comply with your ruling? And that's just my concern.
It's understandable. Any other questions? Yes, Officer.
Ms. Fisher, you know where the property is? When I went to go do the site visit, I could see I could see the windows on the south side, but I could not see where the entry was at. Where are the doors that you mentioned? Where are those doors? On what side of?
In the pictures, they are on the rear of the house.
So they're on the north side?
And I'm not sure if they're even clear. I'm pretty sure they're opaque. I tend to disagree that it's a greenhouse and more of a guest room as an accessory to the house. And just the proximity to our property line and the proximity of the setback puts me at unease.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Bustos? Anybody else have questions? Okay, staff, do you have any questions for this? For the neighborhood? No? Mr. Trujillo, do you have any questions of the neighbor?
I have a question about the fire hazard. When you guys first moved in, remember you started a bonfire in the backyard? And I told you guys, shut your fire down or I'll call the fire department.
I don't remember
You
that.
guys lit up a big old fire.
I
in the
do
backyard.
remember somebody screaming, but that's irrelevant to,
Right.
So folks, let's, if you have a question, you can ask a question.
The thing
You're
is-
welcome, to Ms. Bishop.
That was it.
Okay, Mr. Trujillo, would you please come back up to the podium? We're gonna let you have one more statement, since you people are saying a lot of things, and we might ask you more questions. So do you have anything else to say about the project?
Just that for the for you guys to know, I worked construction all my life since I was,
Then you would have known you needed permits.
should have known to get a
If you worked
permit. That's
construction your entire
my,
life, you should have known you needed permits. That's something, yes. Okay.
but I thought that when I submitted that to Mr. Baldonado, that would have been submitted. I should have sent it to the,
You didn't pay
To the
any fees or
state.
anything when you submitted that permit, you just picked up a form and submitted it?
well, I paid him the fee for the application.
Yeah,
That
for
was
now.
it. Right, that's all I thought.
Any questions, Mr. Baldwin, that you heard some more testimony from other people? I have a question for Mr. Baldonado, I mean, Mr. Trujillo. So, is this gonna be a guest room or is it?
It's not gonna be a guest room.
So
It is
I
not
think
gonna be
that
a
your
guest
neighbor's concern and our job is to uphold the code of West Vanilla, the planning and zoning. It's also to be concerned about people's public safety and joining their properties. And it's gonna be hard living next to neighbors where you guys are feuding, that's gonna be no fun at all.
Right.
So are there any things you can think about that you can do since you've been in the construction field for so long that would alleviate her concerns of a fire? Do you have any suggestions on how you're
I
going to?
think if anything, I would install solar panels if I'm gonna do any kind of lighting, I would get a
Solar, still electric,
solar.
my friend. That's
You know.
still electric, so
That's it.
are you planning on putting fire code rated drywall on the interior walls, which would be something
Yes, I
you
am.
should do? So you're gonna use 5/8 drywall on the interior walls,
Yes, I will.
okay? And also on the interior ceiling, 5/8 fire code drywall?
Yes,
You do that, okay? So that would help inhibit some spread of fire. I know the fire marshal told us there's not a concern, but to alleviate their concerns, that might be something that you should do. And it's not gonna be used as a guest room.
no, it's not gonna be a guest room. It's for my boy.
Any other questions from staff for Mr. Trujillo? Okay. So part of your recommendations, Lou Baker, maybe we could add 5/8 fire code drywall on the interior walls and interior ceiling as a condition of approval, which maybe if we have a motion to that extent tonight, maybe we can add that condition. But any other questions for Mr. Trujillo? Okay, thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
Thank you.
Okay, so there,
I think there's one other person that wanted to speak.
from the general public, who is that? Oh, please, would you come forward and state your name?
Yes, my name's Mr. Reyes,
So let
and
me just, before you begin, so you were not served notice, is that correct, or you were given notice?
to appear,
Yeah, you were
Right,
given
yes,
notice, okay,
yes.
would you please raise your right hand? Okay, and what's your name again?
Ismael Reyes,
Oh, there you are, okay. Mr. Reyes, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you, go ahead, Mr. Reyes, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to present my issues.
Yeah.
My issues is not with them or their building. I live across the street. Okay, the issue here is that I was falsely accused of calling the county on their situation.
Oh,
I was brought into the situation on false pretense. I didn't call the county. I was in Puerto Rico taking care of my mother on her last days on this planet. I was getting her funeral. And when I came back November 30th. I approached Mr. Martin, said how things were going. And he stated that somebody reported him. And that was it, I left it alone. And he said that he had to come to this session. I said, well, I'll go and support you. And that's what I'm doing.
okay,
But what I'm saying is, the county needs to let them know that I was not the one that reported that. Okay, I was not there. I was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say.
all right, so just to recap, you are in favor of this project?
I'm staying neutral because I'm not on that side of the street.
Okay,
I'm on the other side.
okay,
So whatever the commission decides that favors both the property owner on that side and them, I'm okay with that. But I just want to be left out of the picture because I was not involved. I was out of the country when this happened.
thank you, Mr. Reyes. Thank you. Okay. All right, so at this point, I will close the public session. For public comments. So give it a little bit of thought and I need a motion. And we can approve the request, we can deny, or we can approve the conditions.
I'm gonna make a motion, to deny.
To be done.
Mr. Chair, who made the motion, please?
Joe Salazar. Joe Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. Salazar.
Do I have a second to the motion? That motion dies. Do I have another motion?
I motion to approve it with conditions.
Okay, can you state those
Um,
conditions?
the 5/8 drywall, like indicated. And all, the conditions that, staff has suggested.
And those conditions have been made clear to Mr. Trujillo.
Yes.
Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
So we have a second from Commissioner Bustos. Okay. Would you have any discussion? So I'd like to say a few things to you, Mr. Trujillo, and to you as the neighbor. We do not appreciate this type of a situation when things are built before they're permitted. And the reason why is it would have been very easy for it to go the other way. And now you'd be tearing that structure down. And all the money you invest in that thing would be wasted. And I tell you, you know, it's very serious when you do things like that. And if you, Mr. Trujillo, you're your own man, but let me tell you, if you work for these contractors all your life, you should definitely know that whatever you build requires a permit. And you should familiarize yourself with that process. Now, I'm gonna ask the planning zoning director, now in the future, when this project is done, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do here. We're gonna get a final inspection. I mean, he started this plan, he didn't submit that permit to the state. There needs to be some type of a final inspection that is going to prove that he has 5/8 fire code drywall. Okay, that he has no electrical and plumbing. Yes, sir.
If we're gonna go in that route, and you're asking for a final inspection, I think construction industry should be made aware of what occurred, and that they're the ones that are licensed for, have the ability to do the final inspection, go in there and make sure that where the conditions are met and that they meet the state requirements.
I think that only thing about that, Joe, is this. So we have a very interesting situation with this zoning. It's B2, so it's
Right.
commercial property. So it's legal non-conforming, and I don't know how they would inspect that. Being a GBND, I don't know how they would inspect that, but I do know there are inspectors you can hire, you can go in and verify all these conditions are met. It could even be done by staff, because they're not gonna have any plumbing, no electrical, no heating. 5/8 fire drywall is easy to measure and confirm. And looking at the plans, it is built out to be a pretty stout building. It is, but again, whoever makes the motions.
Do you know that?
I haven't inspected it. I
Yeah.
just
Did
looked
you
at
go
the drawings.
through?
Not as long as you know, I have not.
Okay, so you're making an opinion on something that it's built right, but do you know?
I'm just saying that when whoever, you have a first and a second. They haven't added those, now you can ask them to amend their motion, and that's up to them. And if you want to make that request, I think you should.
I would like to make that request, but it had to be somebody that's licensed to do an inspection and such, and that it could be done now and after.
You can state CID if you want to. I mean, that's that can be one of the concessions. He built the building before it was permitted, so lucky he's not having to throw it out. So you can ask him to amend the motion for that if that's what you would like to do.
And I'd like to add that to CID.
So Ross, who made the first? You made the first? Would you amend your motion to include an inspection by CID?
He made the motion.
Tell me a little bit more about that, Gary, you're familiar.
Well, what Joe is asking for.
It's already built.
It's already built, so he would have to go to CID and have to come and inspect that structure where it's at now.
Would CID do that?
They do, they might, you'd have to ask, you know, and I think there'd be a little bit of information that would have to be shared from Lou and what Mr. Baldonado with them, that it's not, even though it's a commercial district, it's a
It would be like an
non-commercial building.
occupancy certificate
Yeah.
before they give you.
Well, they have to
Do we
give them
need to get
occupancy before, so they'll come in and do their training inspection they can do. They do all the inspections of what has been done so far, because it's all visible. And then they would come back to do the drywall inspection, which proves that they have 5/8 drywall. We come back and approve and give us.
So are we allowing him to continue building the interior?
Well, you have to deal with CID and get that process established, if we're gonna have CID inspected.
The other thing, he spoke and he swore that he has had, he's worked in the industry before, building stuff, so he should be aware that, all this process should be done before he started doing it.
I wholeheartedly agree.
There's consequences, and, that's why we're having this hearing.
Are we questioning the structure of the
Well,
building
they just
or
wanna make
just the
sure-
variance?
I think what, Joe, what do you, I'm
It-
not gonna
it's-
assume, what do you?
It's a condition of the variance that,
But not the structure.
no, the condition of the variance would be that there is confirmation that it is built properly by inspection.
I'm not sure I'll leave it as is.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, so we're gonna call for the question.
I just, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, we have a motion on the floor that was moved by the Honorable Commissioner Ross Chavez. He moves to approve with conditions. The conditions are: the greenhouse cannot be used for commercial use. The structure cannot be connected to water, electricity, sewer, or any other utilities. Another condition is that the walls and the ceiling will be required to have 5/8 inch drywall. And there is a final inspection. No, that didn't go, oh, so it's only those two, okay. And so with that, Commissioner Ross Chavez.
That's correct.
So you want to go for the motion with the conditions, the two
With the
conditions. The two conditions, one is the one from staff.
I might add an inspection of the 5/8 drywall. So,
Okay,
Okay,
I'll make my second.
okay.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
Commissioner Ross Chavez will need to state that he's amending his motion to include inspection of the drywall, and then this person who seconded, Commissioner Bustos, will have to agree to that as well before you vote.
okay. I motion to add the 5-inch drywall to be inspected. Amend my motion.
Okay,
And I'll amend my second to agree.
thank you, Commissioner Bustos and Commissioner Chavez.
Commissioner Bustos,
For the motion,
with the conditions.
with the conditions.
The Honorable Chair J.R. Trio,
with the inspection for the motion.
Commissioner J.D. Martinez,
For the motion with the inspection.
Commissioner Joe Salazar,
Against the motion.
Commissioner Ross Chavez,
For the motion, with the amendments,
and that's with the conditions.
conditions, yes.
The motion passes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Mhm. I'll work with you, Mr. Trio.
Let me just do so I'm gonna close the public hearing at this time, and it is 8:25.
Would you like your pictures?
Yes. Hopefully, the 5-inch inspection will come with.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
You have your question.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
You're not gonna sleep tonight, bro.
It's a smile.
Okay, yeah, basketball.
No, they'll just sleep the basketball. That's what you will be mad.
Yes, I'm on the website, just go to the city of West Palm, okay, you'll see my picture and then my email address.
What do we have? We can do a few things after a few minutes.
That's it in the.
And we'll also, I went back to my old habits, it's just smoking.
You're smoking too dang much.
So we'll come
You got one
back at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Not good, 10 minutes.
I don't need another Joanne on my back.
Well,
And after I do the journal.
Okay.
No.
Are we taking a 10-minute break?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're gonna come back for,
the minutes.
matters from the minutes and then the matters from the commission. And then there's matters from staff.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, he's a nice man.
Yes, yes, try next week sometime, by the time it's not.
Oh, God. Stop, Willie. Stop.
You should have done it.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna call this meeting back to order. We have to go somewhere. So we're gonna do, action items,
Yeah, this is it.
approval of minutes. We're gonna have approval of minutes, so Vince, if you, you've had a chance, commissioners, to review the minutes. In reviewing the minutes, I have to tell you what I focus on is what I said. And that way, you know, and you should also focus on what you said, right? So we have 2 minutes, the minutes of May 12th. So are there any corrections to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I
Yes,
will be abstaining as I was not present.
do I have a motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve the minutes.
And a second,
Second.
okay, motion by Commissioner
Is
Chavez,
Liz on? Elizabeth,
second by.
I'm on.
okay,
So we have a first, a motion by Commissioner Chavez and a motion by Commissioner Joe Salazar to. Second to approve the minutes of May 12th for, May 12th, 2022. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Abstain?
yeah, abstain, so 4 yes and 1 abstention.
Yes, ma'am.
You have before you also the minutes of June 23rd, 2022. Any questions or changes to the minutes? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Joe Salazar, motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I second it, Ross Chavez.
Second by Ross Chavez. All in favor, say aye. Aye, abstain?
1 abstention.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Let's do matters from the commission. So starting with Ross, any matters from the commission?
No.
Okay, Mr. Salazar?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. You know, we've had a lot of issues going on with, you know, not having meetings and stuff. We lost Mohammed, that was a heartbreaker. You know, and Ms. Baker stepped in to try to do a lot of work, you know, to get things done. And I want to commend her on all her efforts. I know it gets confusing. She's working 2 commissions, a lot of demands being put on her.
Yes.
I heard they got her some part-time help, 4 hours a day, my understanding, which is great. I'm glad
I don't know.
somebody's good.
I don't know.
But I'm gonna share something that my wife shared with me. Says, you guys, you know what's wrong with you? I'm the chair of the other commission. I said, I call Ms. Baker, things aren't getting done. Does she need help? I go out there, I help her work with the agenda, the packets and whatever else. Does anybody in your commission step up to help? And you know, that's a fact. And I watch my wife do this thing, thinking, oh, I'm helping you do this, oh, I'm helping you do that, you know. And chair, vice chair, maybe we could, you know, put in a couple of hours to assist the thing. I'm willing to do that if others are willing to do that, because, you know, it's just too much. And to tell you the truth, the one thing that my wife really did say, I'm worried about Lou Baker's health.
Sure.
She's been driven in many different directions, and I think the city manager needs to be aware that he should be reviewing, like if what happened here, there was a posting that was supposed to be done, whatever, is somebody should have a checklist of all the things that necessary of the process, and that make sure that these are done. And, you know, since she's been drawn in different directions, that we could go in there and say, Lou, you want us to do the checklist, make sure everything is included, the package, the cocaine, anything missing. In other words, if we get the package, is review them as quick, you know, either whoever, you know, is doing the duty at that time can do that and assist her, make sure that we don't have a delay, because then we get, you know, text flying out, oh, this is unprofessional, but you know, well, that's in reality, you respond and say, come on, folks, you know, she's been pulled here and here. And, you know, also Mr. Baldonado, you know, he's doing a lot of work too. So if we can assist in that process until they're able to, administration able to, you know, bring in more staff to help them with the process. So that's the thing, and they really, are these really my words? Actually not, they're my wife's words. Okay, so thank you.
I just want to hear from Mrs. Baker, is that something that she would like? From the commissioner to commissions to help out?
Honorable Chair, members of the commission, to answer your question, yes. Madam Chair Joanne Salazar, the chair of the ECDC, meets with me so that we can work on the agenda together. She schedules time with me. She keeps staying focused, like, okay, I'm gonna be there, we're gonna spend 3 hours together. I know that Chair Trujillo and I used to meet every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. He put in a lot of hours in the minor subdivision ordinance that is going to city council next week. And then that kind of fell through the cracks when everything started to unravel when I inherited the Santa Clara Apartments. The Santa Clara Apartments just was consumed a lot of time, a lot of resources, worked with 32 families. There was just a lot of need with these families. So staff was neglected. As a community development director, my job is economic development. I have films that want to come to town. I haven't had a chance to reach out to them and say, and that's a real revenue generator that we need that money so that we can pay the retail coach, so that we can invest that money to make more money. So to answer your question, Commissioner Chavez, yes, you're welcome to come and spend time with us. Ms. Bustos started spending some time with us this week, and immediately she showed up. What can I do? I tasked her, I said, please go do this, please go do that. She's gonna take the lead on the housing summit that we're gonna have here in the city on April the 21st at Northern College. She's gonna be working very closely with Todd Clark with the Urban Land Institute in Albuquerque. They had a housing summit last fall. It was very well attended. It was in Old Town at the Hotel Albuquerque. I would say they probably had maybe 200, maybe 220 people attend. All kinds, mortgage companies, financiers, developers, contractors. The mortgage authority was there. It was a real good opportunity to meet everyone that's in the housing industry. And so she's gonna help me take the lead on that. Also working with Ms. Salazar, I know that she's very excited about that. Ms. Salazar with her commission is working very closely with President Valderas on a resolution between Northern and the city to work on, they finished that one? To have a collaboration for workforce development. There's just a lot going on. So if you folks have 2 or 3 hours and you want to come in and do something, trust me, we'll put you to work. There's a lot of work that, and it'll be quality work. I'm not going to put you to work, just filing stuff. This is stuff that I'm really going to task you with. That's going to be significant productive work. I know that Chair Trujillo, like I said earlier, we worked a lot in the past, and I know that he worked very closely with Mohammed. And so when we lost Mohammed, Chair Trujillo asked if we could meet. We would meet every Wednesday at 4 o'clock religiously, and we spent some time together. So we need to start to revive that and start to do that so that we can talk about the issues. I know that there's been a lot of talk about revising the code. Even as I review the code, sometimes I'm like, okay, that's not, that might have been relevant 15, 20 years ago, but now it needs to be revised. I'm working very closely with Mr. Talcott, Rodney Talcott. He's the director of the wastewater division. And we have,
I'm gonna call him Santa.
or Rodney, Santa. And so he comes to see me all the time, and he's like, we need to do something with this code about wastewater, grease traps, sand traps, all this stuff, because all of this stuff goes into our sewer system and he has to deal with it at the end, and so we need to really start to look at what we can do to help him, so the last thing we wanna do as a community is have violations with EPA, because they can be very, very expensive, those fines and those penalties. So we have a lot of work, so if you folks wanna help, you're welcome. And I know that Ms. Bustos is very aware of this, of course, because of ex parte. We won't discuss anything about any applications that you'll be ruling on. But there's other things, there's a lot of research that you can help us with at the county. We're doing some research right now to determine streets. We have a lot of errors and omissions in our street maps on exactly which streets are dedicated to the city, streets that we assumed were city streets, but are actually private streets, who's responsible for maintaining them. So we really need to do a lot of that research that Vince and I will be tackling. A code enforcement compliance officer, Armando, is coming back on Tuesday. I just want to let you know Monday's a holiday, so City Hall will be closed on Monday. So he will be back to work on Tuesday. He has been out for maybe about 5 or 6 weeks. So he's good that he's feeling better, he's coming back to work. We missed him, but the workload is there. We've had a lot of projects, a lot of nuisance properties that we had to address in his absence. And the phone calls still keep coming in. We're working with a nuisance property over by the Zia Credit Union on the south end of town. It used to be a gas station. And from what I understand, there are some homeless folks that are,
Set up there.
they're residing in there, and they're approaching people as they're stacked at the drive-up window, coming up to your car and asking you, knocking on your window and.
You're at the ATM, hand over some money.
Yeah, so it's not safe, so we're working on that. So the list just goes on and on and on. So any help you can give us, it would be great, even just to come in and give Vince a chance to leave the building and go have lunch. And cover the front counter, and we can teach you how to do an addressing verification form, and when somebody comes up to the counter, you can walk away for a little while, take a lunch break. That would be great. And on that note, I would really like to thank Vince. Vince, I've been really, really dependent on you, and you know that I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you really stepping up to the plate. We have some personnel issues that him and I have been working on, and hopefully we'll have good news soon. We'll see how that turns out, but because it is personnel and it's confidential, we'll just keep it quiet for now. But I'm advocating for Vince, and hopefully we can share some really good news with you in the next few weeks, preferably in the next few days, but. Yes, Mr. Martinez.
I read in the paper that we had a problem last month at city council meeting with somebody that was raising heck about something or other.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, it was a nasty meeting. It was a really, it was scary.
What happens if someone here decides to go blow by blow with someone else?
Safety.
That's,
I'm the bouncer. I'll take care of him.
I have the concealed and carry.
I don't know, do you feel, because I can ask for an officer to be here if you feel unsafe. I mean, all you have to say is that you don't feel
I
safe.
felt that we were having a little bit of trouble because they were arguing about, the lady was arguing about trees. That wasn't any part of the issues, probably had to stay, stop
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
The chair has to do that.
Mhm.
Hey, you have to keep us on task.
Yes, thank you.
It was really bad for city council.
So the lady didn't like the neighbor.
Oh, no, the guy at city council, though, he got very verbally abusive, and Peggy Sue especially, and Counselor Denise, they were not happy. And he was very verbally abusive, and John finally, the mayor finally had to just basically say, we're taking a break and got everybody out of the room, which was the right thing to do.
Do they have
But,
security there?
the police chief was there.
Oh. Great,
So
there you go.
he had warned the man to calm down, the man didn't. So he very quickly got on his phone and texted his guys, and 2 guys came and
Good.
they took him.
Yeah.
And then he cried like a
There needs to
baby
be a
all the way.
plan. But I just wanted to also say,
If
you
we
know,
dial 911, how fast can we get them here? They gotta say,
You wouldn't cry.
please.
That's a trick question. You don't, you're not gonna give me a record with that one, Commissioner.
Tony Zero's living right across the street.
you know, your workload is not gonna end. I mean, there's gonna be something always going on.
Oh, yes.
What is the amount of staff you have, and is the mayor looking for additional help? It's not gonna change, you're gonna be jumping from one situation to another.
They're still looking for a planner to relieve you of that.
Yeah, how long
But,
have you been looking, is it
We're working.
foreseeable, you know, to help you guys? I mean, us helping is great, but you need staff that you.
This is my
The door's
third,
open. We don't lock the door till we go
Still
to
a cat.
this is my third time with the city. The first time I came, Chair Trujillo, we worked together. He was not a city employee, but I worked with Mr. Mark McGill, he was a planning director, and Vince. There were 11 of us. That's how big the planning department was. There was the planning director, senior planner, addressing, building inspector, animal control, administrative assistant, the list just went on and on and on. We had 11. Came back the second time to the city in 2004, we were down to 9. Came back now, it's my third time. We're not even a skeleton crew anymore. We're the Holy Ghost. I mean, it's Vince and I, Armando's been out, Matthew stepped in, he's on loan to us from the police department, and he's going to the academy in April. And so, to answer your question, they had interviews for planning director, and decisions were made not to go with any of the candidates that applied. And apparently now they're going with a national recruiter, and they're gonna recruit nationally. I haven't met with Jordan to find out if they have any applicants, what's the status of that. We need a planner. We need Mr. Frisch left us, he was our GIS technician. I'm of the opinion right now is if I would prioritize the workload, and if I had like a dream machine and I could have what I wanted, GIS would not be on that list of priorities. We need mapping, we need the GIS, but it's not a priority. There's not enough of a workload to have a 40-hour GIS person right now, maybe in the future.
Can I interject? here?
Yes,
Because you're asking him for more help, and I responded to a text that,
About the 10,000.
yeah, and the thing is, I worked at a Department of Finance Administration. And through there, we saw every single contract that was done at the state level, okay? Now, saying that we can't go find temporary help or short-term help, yes, you can. And there are companies, and if you look at, Los Alamos has a lot of need to fill positions, but they need them right away, so they go out and contract. They have a lot of contractors. They not only use their federal staff to help them find people through contract work, they also come to the state. They ask for their assistance. So there can be, and I'll give you an example. Our current county assessor, he worked at Los Alamos at the assessor's office for many years. There came out a call from one of the counties up north, my own hometown, San Miguel. They were in dire need of somebody to go in and help them with their assessor's office. It went out to all the assessor's office from property taxation revenue property division. The assessor up there says, I got a young man here, he can go do the work that you need to do. So they contracted with Mr. Valdez, and he went out there for over a year. And even during his campaigning, he was still doing the job out there. He did so well that he even convinced the county commission out there to give employee raises, since you got too much turnover. You give your employees raises, you'll retain. So, there is possibilities. I still have contacts with the state that could get your assistance and help us in this process. And it's just, short term until they can find the permanent.
Right.
I say it'd be a great conversation to have with our mayor or our city manager. And, hopefully they agree that they're the ones that do the.
That's it, but I'm offering that, if that message could get to them, I've offered our mayor several times, I'm willing to help, but I can't force myself.
That was
There's
a
a lot of suggestions made to the mayor and the city manager. Okay?
a lot
It's
of,
up to them to decide what they want to go with, and as of now, sad to say, they have not. And one of these days, we all know that we need to have a fully staffed planning and zoning department. I wish it could happen.
that would be great.
They're saving money already by not filling the place. Can you imagine they're making, if we call it a vacancy rate. And they just move the contract, and in the long run, it benefits the community.
I agree.
And that's,
Well, I got one more thing to do, to mention, and I'm gonna start. I know I had signed up to attend the training on the May 3rd.
Yes.
I will not be able to attend that training because prior to this, I belonged to another board. And the department secretary in charge of that place out there, just north of us, she has asked me if I would help her with we're gonna be doing a wine festival on May 6th. So she has asked me to. Yeah, tell me, so, and I'm gonna take my wine, I'm gonna take my 2 wine friends to what they sell the wine.
Hey, that's great, man.
Oh, you want to take it? You
So, before we're done. Who?
Oh,
Oh, yes, yeah, well, you checked in.
I didn't check in.
No, you didn't check in? Okay, so I'm gonna take you off the list. Are you gonna go, Commissioner?
No.
No, okay, so,
So anything else from the staff? We actually went from our commission to the staff. Finish up with your staff comments and we're gonna finish the commission.
okay,
Well, we went to the staff.
So-
We're number 10.
I know she's been doing
so
the staff work.
it's late, I know everybody wants to go home to your families, it's been a long day for everyone. Vince, thank you again, I really appreciate you. Please tell Miss Emma that I really appreciate her shepherding you and coaching you on the IT stuff. We will eventually get the IT stuff down pat, okay, but I appreciate all of you being patient with us. I met with Jordan Tuesday, was exactly 6 months that I came on as on a dual role as community development coordinator and as interim planning director, and I said, it's 6 months, Jordan. I need a pay raise. Or you guys need to hire a planning director. I just stepped in a pinch to pick up Muhammad's workload. I didn't realize I was gonna be doing this 6 months down the road, and so Tuesday was 6 months that I stepped in for Muhammad. It's been that long. It's already been that long since we lost Muhammad. So, but thank you very much. I look forward to working with you back on a weekly basis, and you'll be here on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 4, 1 to 5, and I'm gonna put you to work. There's plenty of work.
I'd like to talk to some of the films.
Okay, and then you're working with Espanola Day, which is gonna be March the 15th.
That's what I was gonna do.
Okay, and then she's gonna take the lead on the housing summit. I really would like for you to be there. It's just 1 day. But it's gonna be all of northern New Mexico. We're gonna have folks from the legislative delegation, from the lab, from developers, contractors at Northern. But as we get a little closer and it starts to unfold, she'll put together a flyer and all that information, and I'll send it out to the world.
And I just have one more request. Remember I had asked you how many one of the meals that consist of this, because I work with my daughter's business and she said, watch out with links, okay? And you were sending me stuff from license and regulations, they got hacked bad. So, if I hit a button, that we all go, you know?
Yeah.
So please, and I'm asking that kindly, but it's something.
Okay, I understand. I have two lists, because I have my list for planning and zoning stuff, just for agendas and meetings. You're on that list, and then I have my planning and zoning commission, non-commission items, and you're not on that list, because you don't get like all the APA and all that other stuff that I send out.
So,
And if you don't want me to send, I believe in just sharing information. As many eyes on all the stuff that's out there, because I can't read it all myself. So I send it to you, and maybe something will grab your attention, and you can say, Lou, we should look at this. I met with Representative Roger Montoya today. We talked about Justice 40. And so I'm really excited about learning about that. Apparently, Mayor Tim Keller signed an executive order last week in regards to Justice 40. So I really can't answer any of the questions, because I'm just learning about it as of this morning.
I know, I went to something too and I don't understand.
And so it's all about environmental justice and stuff like that for communities of color, under disadvantaged neighborhood communities. And so there's, from what I hear, there's a lot of money available. So we're gonna see what we can do to bring some of that money to Espanola. But
Mr. JD.
Thank you.
Your turn, any matters from Commissioner J. Martinez? All right, you, Ms. Christine. you first.
Okay, so as Ms. Baker's told you, as Lou's told you, they approached me last week to try and fill in some little holes here at City Hall for the time being. This isn't a long-term thing or anything, but it's spending time with here in planning and zoning to help Lou out. But of course, since I'm a commissioner, I can't see any of the people that are applying or anything. So I'm doing other stuff that she needs done. And letting Vince go on a lunch break. So anyway, so I'm gonna be doing that, and then I spend another portion of my days with the city clerk too, trying to get her on board with some stuff. Because she's new at it and doesn't have as much office experience as some. So I've been helping her there. And then the third thing is coordinating Espanola Day, because that was Jeremy's thing and he's at the county now. So I picked that up, and Espanola Day is going good, except a couple minor glitches. It was set for March 1st. Nobody actually booked it, so we lost it. So we're now March 15th. So we can have the whole place. So we had to do that. So that's 2 days before the end of the legislature, but we're doing well. I'm busy booking some entertainment for like from 11 to 1 on the 15th. So hopefully the governor and our legislators will be able to attend. And then the city itself is gonna have at least four tables to fill. So I'm sure that we'll work with Lou and get some stuff out there from planning and zoning. And everybody is invited to be there. And that's the 15th. It runs from 8 to 3, but the main part's usually like 11 to 1 or so.
I came across some old photos, and I have photos of you at the Roundhouse when we had Espanola Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we were all much younger then.
A lot of fun.
You know, I was a brunette.
So was I.
Anything else?
Also, no, just everybody, we're gonna have biscochitos and coffee in the morning. I'm trying to book mariachis. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
And yes, please participate. And other than that,
When is this again?
yes, March 15th. It's a Wednesday. And take your kids. Are you still teaching at all?
No.
No, you're anymore. No, so. I was gonna say take a class.
Neither's his wife, so now she's
49, got to be high. So, for me, congratulations, Joe. Look forward to working with you.
Yes.
Our rules for planning and zoning, of course, the chairman vote comes up in a year, from when we took office, so that'll be real soon. So we'll be voting for a chair position, okay, again. So that should be coming up, we'll investigate that. We have our minor subdivision ordinance, the first meeting before the council is again this month on the 21st. We hope to have that passed soon.
the small business, or the small
The
development.
small development, yeah, we sent to the council. That's gonna create, I think, one hell of a workload for the planning and zoning department. That's why I told Jordan, man, you approve this now, we better be careful because people are gonna wanna take advantage of that opportunity, okay?
Well, that's what it's for.
So we need to be ready for that. I think that kudos to you, Vince, your staff reports have been spot on. I really appreciate the work you put into them. It sure makes our job a little bit easier. And same with you, Lou, your staff report on the bills.
Good.
It's also very,
Thank you.
very well written. The thing that I'm gonna ask you folks though, and I volunteer my time to you to go over this agenda, go over these applications before we get them committed to the commission.
Okay.
We had to postpone the GM situation till next week. That application was not ready to go before anybody. We were gonna waste of time and a waste of the public. So I think we need to really meet before these agendas go out, so I can see what's going out to these folks. And I want to be able to also give you some input on what these people should bring to us as far as conditions.
Okay,
Okay, we added some conditions that at least make things fly tonight. I don't agree with things being built before there's permits, but at the same respect, we have not had a planning and zoning department for many months. And that causes people to do the wrong thing, like the health, and I'm just gonna go build my damn structure, because I can't see anybody, get anybody, whatever the case may be. So I think it's very important we review these things together, Lou.
Yeah.
Not doubting your capacity, I think the world of you. I don't know anybody else that could be doing what you're doing. Truthfully, I do not. I hope that's rectified soon, but until then,
Yeah.
I like to volunteer that.
Okay.
And maybe you don't have to do things twice a week. Look at things a little bit more.
okay.
before-
Create a
There's a-
checklist of what the requirements are.
You could come in maybe twice a week and go over Vince's desk, go through all the applications that are piled up on his desk and review them. And most of them we review and they can be
It's a fine line.
decided
It's a
administratively.
fine line for me, because it needs to be something that after they come and present their application, and you guys start looking at it, is when because I can ask questions of you. On an
Right,
application,
okay.
I can't make the decision of that application, because that would be.
No, okay, I understand.
Kind of commission, right?
I don't know if we were gonna have a meeting next week. It's posted for the 23rd for GM
And
Emulsions.
he brought in his application, so then it will be denied.
Cause he was informed, we met with him, he asked to
If it's gonna
postpone.
come in tomorrow, I would say no.
Well,
because then it'd be
Jordan said the
difficult.
16th.
Yeah, that was,
He was gonna have a cease and desist order placed.
That's the day.
He was given a cease and desist order not to continue with his operation up there outside of the footprint
right,
that was initially established. And even then, he's operating illegally, because he does not have a special use permit, because it died when he bought that thing from the container.
yeah, he hasn't brought anything in to Vince or myself, so I'll follow up with Mr. Martinez first thing in the morning. And it's most likely next week's commission meeting will be rescheduled or postponed.
And
But I'll let you know, I'll let you
We're
know.
having an enchilada dinner that night and I have tickets. So,
Where
can buy it.
where's your enchilada?
you're gonna see.
That's for the fiesta,
For
right?
the fiestas.
Burroñate.
No, I'm making green chili chicken.
Any other information about planning?
My son is home, so please let me.
Okay, yeah, just got it. It's the. Adjourned.
Elizabeth, good night.
Good night.
Thanks, so thank you. Come to the enchilada dinner.
Okay,
Cost me $20.
thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Lou, I'll give you a call next week.
Okay. Tell Joanne I send my regards, okay?
Well, thank
Tell her
you
I'm
for-
happy that she